The Turdistan he fought, a bedridden devil. His army of clones at his jaw did they revel. They came after us, crossed the borderline, took all our offers to send down their mines, while the feathered beast read out Dear Bob. So cried the trekker, this madness must stop. Toss a coin to your trekker, oh planet of plenty, oh planet of plenty, oh. Toss a coin to your trekker, oh planet of plenty. The vile Kurogans fled and hid what they had stole. The orphan was shackled and kept in the cold. But he did not relent. The Turd King was hell-bent. He slayed the Kurogans, then to Bird's house he went. And with a mighty blow he struck that button red. The mighty bird folded in two by his bed. That's my epic tale, our champion prevailed. So let's drink a toast with some Romulan ale. Toss a coin to your trekker, oh planet of plenty, oh planet of plenty, oh. Toss a coin to your trekker, oh planet of plenty, oh planet of plenty, oh. Toss a coin to your trekker, oh planet of plenty, oh planet of plenty, oh. Toss a coin to your trekker, the great Turdistan.
It's the anti-checker.
We will return to your scheduled programming shortly, or we are currently experiencing technical difficulty.
You know what? Hate me because I cheat, because I won.
And there it is, of course. If you haven't seen it before, Bird of Prey absolutely admits that he cheats. So, yeah.
You know what? Hate me because I cheat, because I won. You know what? Hate me because I cheat, because I won.
So, yep. Definitely a cheater. And so welcome everybody to this completely unplanned live stream. So I apologize if I seem a little unkempt at this point. As soon as people say, "Oh, do a live stream," so I ran downstairs and combed my hair and like, okay, I'll try. And so I'm here. 47 Yorktown is first, says good morning. Thomas says hi. Immortal Trekneek says hey. Darth Revan says forced. Hello. And Thomas throws a $1.99 in, says sorry I don't have any coins, and number 18. That is quite all right. In fact, we kind of prefer folding money to coins anyway, to be honest. We're cheap bastards.
I have to save that old person. Sam! Well, thank you very much for helping me steal this.
And funny, I actually back when we made that, I thought Shazam.
You know what?
Suck.
Hate me because I cheat, because I won.
Yes, we know you cheat. And Continuum Trek throws 2.29 euros. Why 2.29? I'm just curious, Continuum. Really, why 2.20? Why not just 2 euros? I mean, don't get me wrong. I ain't complaining. The extra 29, whatever you call a 1/100th of a euro, is awesome.
Hello,
but I just didn't understand that. But thank you, my friend. And wants to know, are you looking forward to Picard? Yes, ish is the best I can say. I'm looking forward to Picard in the same way that I look forward to anything new in Trek. I mean, as soon as they announce they could tell me that there's a new show coming, and from the producers of Discovery, the Michael Burnham Hour, right? And I'll be like, okay, I'll watch it, because I'm a sucker. I admit it. CBS has got me lock, stock, and barrel, because I will watch anything that is Trek. And if Picard is great, awesome. Trek is back, and Trek is awesome. If Picard sucks, then I will be screaming at the top of my lungs, as you guys have heard me do during many episodes of Star Trek Discovery. So, but I am looking forward to it in the sense that I'm hoping and hoping and hoping that we will finally get some good Trek. And so that's all I can say. But thank you, my friend. I truly do appreciate it. Continuum Trek says, great video on the Borg. Thank you. And now, granted, Mr. Miles gets a lot of credit for that, because all I did was I wrote it and recorded the voiceover, and then I handed it over to Miles. Everything else was from him. As far as all the visual stuff you see, Mr. Miles did an incredible job, and he's really set the bar high. I don't know how he's going to outdo himself, and especially considering that now we're moving into the Dominion, and so that's going to be very interesting, because we're going to be talking about the Dominion for a couple of videos, and then we're going to weigh the two as far as the Borg versus the Dominion. There's been a lot of Borg versus Dominion videos done in the past, but we're going to try to do it right. Yosef says 6. Mike says greetings from Columbus, Ohio. Wow, deja vu. Yes, because you said that a few minutes ago. Remember, Bird O'Prey forced a new song for the Kuroga National Anthem. Anti-Trekker did. Very true, because Kuroga censors its artists. That is an established fact. Kuroga does indeed censor their artists and locks them up in jail for producing stuff that their quote-unquote God King doesn't like. Rambling Canuck says, hello all, and Anti-Trigger, hey, how you doing today? He also says, time zones are fascinating. It's 4:24 here. Wow, yeah. I don't stress, says, what's up, fellow Trekkies? That is a great name. Live long and prosper. Darth Revan says, remember to unmute. I will. Hopefully I remembered. Yes, it looks like I remembered. Uncle Remus says, hail to the Anti-Trigger. Thank you, Uncle Remus. And there goes the chat jumping on me. Peter says, good timing, Anti-Trigger. Just stopped dreaming. Streaming. Dreaming or stream? I assume streaming. Or if you just stop dreaming, then aren't you sleeping a little late? So I'm assuming it's streaming. But welcome, Peter. And then he corrects, yes, it's streaming. Jeff Franklin says, good morning. Jeff, I hope you are feeling better today, because you were kind of down on yourself last night, and I want you to be a little more positive, my friend. You know what? We are all your friends here, so stop beating yourself up. Peter says, bugger. Well, you know, that's a really foul word to people in the UK, and to the rest of us, we just laugh at you for saying that as a foul word. Howdy, folks. The winner is here, says Vile Mike. Okay. And let's see. Bird had come from behind win yesterday. Yes, indeed he did. Wow. We know you rather spend your time with DJ like you did for 9 hours last night. Well, actually, it was only an hour and a half. I was on DJ's stream last night. It was fun. I won't be doing that every week or anything, but I wanted to drop by because I think that it's cool that DJ does that. For those of you that don't know, DJ Odyssey frequently puts on live streams after I'm done at night. Darth Ren says, puts pants on, Michael puts Bridget, but Bridget takes effort, crying in corner, please, Dad stares insanely. What? Okay. John DeMarco says, great video and more amazing editing for Mr. Miles. Yes, Mr. Miles. And, you know, it's funny because we call it editing, but it's more than that. Because editing is, in its core, it's kind of like when we can't separate the director of a film from the writer and the producer and all that. The editor, the job of the editor is to take clips and put them together in sequence, right? So that you say, okay, here's the final stuff. Now you're going to arrange the clips to match the narrative that we're trying to tell. That's the job of an editor. Mr. Miles is a whole lot more than that. He is also the compositing artist. He is also the visual effects supervisor. You know, he basically is a producer in his own right, but he edits, he composites, he does all the visual effects and he edits the video, which is why, and we talked about it a little bit, but Mr. Miles will be getting the majority of ad revenue from the videos that he does all that incredible work with. I know people who refuse to watch Picard. Yeah, and I will never be that person. It's like I'm not going to decide Picard sucks before I've seen it. Now, here's what'll happen. I may never watch Picard again after the series is over, right? I will watch every episode, but I may not watch any of them twice. Tom says, the Borg cubes were backwards. Shut up, Thomas. Is his name really Miles? Well, I'm not gonna give out personal information of my editor extraordinaire. He would have to tell you himself. Darther says, so is Mr. Miles editor in Queef? Wow, that's just wow. You can tell we have a lot of Europeans in the room today. Sean says, I would like it if Picard was just good. It doesn't have to be great. It would be nice. So yeah, I agree. And the thing is, here's the problem I have with a lot of the naysayers about Picard. And quite, it kind of boggles my mind. Okay, so what we can piece together from the trailers, and granted, I am not, and I know some people are, but I am not I'm not looking at articles online, I'm not looking at, we found out the secret of season 1 or whatever. Don't care. I'm just looking at what we see in the trailers. That's all that counts. That's all that's quote-unquote canon at this point. That's what they're showing the general population as this is what the show's about. So looking at the trailers, from what I can piece together, and also combining that with the short trek Children of Mars, it looks like Starfleet has been investing effort into creating an army of Datas to be their soldiers. And a group of these evil Data robot soldier things attacked Mars. And that creates an incident that causes Picard to leave Starfleet. Some 15 years later, Picard is on his winery, and he runs into a girl that's in trouble, and for some reason that gets Picard to want to fix a problem. Now, all that being said is basically we have our it's not all that unique, but the idea of a corrupt government, a former high-ranking officer trying to do what he can to save said corrupt government from itself. That's not the newest thing in the world. It's not, but you know what? If done well, that can be an awesome story. Auntie's here. Hey, Auntie. If you heard that rumbling sound, that was Auntie running up the stairs. And she is now in the room with me. Come on over. Wow, you are just all sorts of energy all of a sudden. And so let me see. I can't really. She's not. Oh, there you go. Now, are you gonna sit? Are you gonna sit there? You gonna do a good job, or do I need to? All right. Well, you're gonna do that. Okay. All right. Back to the. And so basically, the loner against the government scenario is nothing brand new. It's nothing unique. But when done well, it can be awesome. When done crappily, it can be crap. So I'm hoping that it's awesome. And so I'm not rejecting it based on the premise, because Picard is exactly the guy that would fight against corruption. Look at Measure of a Man and other episodes. Picard is the guy that would do everything, put everything on the line because of some form of corruption in the government. So there's nothing out of character for that. My biggest concern about the series, though, is that they're not showing starships. They're showing Discovery era ships, and I'm not going to even talk about how crappy they are. Tom says, hey, Jerry, when are you going to do a battle breakdown of Voyager versus the Borg probe? Why do you want me to do Voyager versus the Borg probe? That wasn't a battle. But, maybe eventually. How do you, because we did an original series battle breakdown, then we did a next gen battle breakdown, and then we did the next one that's coming out that I need to fix that little error you pointed out to me, where is a Deep Space Nine battle breakdown. So next up on the list should be actually something from Voyager. So I don't know if we're going to do Voyager versus the Probe, but we're definitely going to have to do Voyager next. Peter says, how's you, Editor? I've just finished streaming for today. Better. That's better. Good job. It only took you an hour to get it right. I wasn't able to stick around yesterday, but still, Gary avoided you like ex-girlfriend. It seems Rise of Skyward. Actually, here's the thing. Let me be straightforward with you guys. I said a lot of things about Gary last night during Bird stream, during my stream. It's all in jest. None of it is serious. Believe it or not, Gary had actually reached out to me because he needed some help with something. Thank you, Josh. And it's dinner or breakfast time for Auntie. All right, so Gary reached out to me because he needed help with something. I offered it wholeheartedly with no conditions whatsoever. We've been talking back and forth. He has my phone number. I have his phone number. We do have an open line of communication now, which we didn't have before. So there's no hard feelings between me and Gary. Everything you hear me say as far as Gary avoiding me or Gary being mean to me or something is kidding. Okay, that's all just kidding around. There's no drama between me and Gary. Unless he decides to be a jerk. Kuroga does not censor artists. We just demand a certain level of quality. Yeah, and so the way that you get your level of quality, i.e. propaganda, is by censoring the artists and torturing them. So about the Borg Cube Dilemma and Retask. That was my strategy. Tim, I'm not sure what you mean. I am not sure what you mean there. But not even Bird came by and triggered 0, yes, 0 chatters. I know, Bird, what a jerk. Maybe I assume he's busy, since usually if I do something in the morning, Bird is up and around, but maybe he had something going on. 2 more live action shows are in the works. Yes, but we'll see if they actually happen. Remember that those two, CBS has had a lot of plans for this modern SJW Trek, but now Viacom owns the house. And so, and hopefully Viacom, and I know that the president of Viacom has a different attitude than the president of CBS. It's not that I would refuse to watch a new Dirt Trek. I just refuse to subscribe to All Access, hence not watching Star Trek is implied. I understand that. Behind the paywall is a mistake because it will cause people to have to make that choice, but I have to do it. €1 equals 100 cents. My card does not work for some weird reason. I will send you a few cents to. No, don't worry about it, Joseph. It's all right. I said I was the winner because I won most of the games you played last night. Gotcha, Vile. Picard don't fancy drinking all day for now. Well, it seems like he kind of does. Do I think Michael Dorn will make an appearance? I do not. I don't stress. I do not think Michael Dorn, because here's the problem. If they bring in Michael Dorn, they will have 2 choices. 1, you make him look like Worf and you just invalidated the Klingorks. Or 2, you make him look like a Klingork and piss the hell off of every Star Trek The Next Generation and Deep Space Nine fan. So I think that they leave that beehive alone, because if you bring in Worf, you're either going to invalidate your agenda or you're going to invalidate the fans. Neither one of them is a good thing for CBS. Stories don't have to be unique, just distinctive. I agree, Sean. And that's why I don't reject Picard based on the premise. I will reject it if it is a political propaganda piece, like, unfortunately, people like to do. Rock Solids here says, guess that's me. I don't know what he, but, oh, hater of all. Yes, that must be you. Don't you go to church Saturday? I go to church on Saturday evening, actually, Thomas. So, in fact, Mrs. Antitrekker participates in a ministry at the church that cooks and prepares food. Well, we basically prepare a good meal, provide an overnight stay with computer access and stuff like that for women and children who are homeless. And the idea of the computer access and stuff is to help them get into a new job and stuff like that. It's basically, and there are several churches in the community that participate so that these women go to different places on different days. And Mrs. Antitrekker is one of the people that prepares food. So she is actually downstairs cooking at this very moment. But we don't go to, but church isn't until 5 p.m. or 7 p.m. We have 2 services on Saturday night. We go to the 7 p.m. when she's not cooking. We go to the 5 p.m. when she is cooking. Apparently the dog rearranged things while marking her entrance. Uh-oh. So Auntie is now settled down so I can turn on the anti-cam. Stories don't have to be unique. They just have to be distinct. Agreed again. What would you want to see happen with Q in the new series? I don't want to see Q in the new series. I don't, and I know this is an unpopular opinion among Trekkies, but I'm not a fan of Q. I think Q served a good purpose in a couple of stories, like in Q Who. I actually liked his presence. But generally speaking, I don't like Q. I think that having a character running around like Q just saying, hey, let's mess with you today, and I don't like it. Aberjam is in the house, communicating from his prison cell, says McClunky. Good to see Aberjam. Darth Vader says, I'm not European, I'm Irish. We don't count ourselves as European. Of course you don't. How about Wolf 359? That will come, sci-fi, but that's going to be a little ways down the road, because here's the problem that I run. I'm learning a lot of this stuff just as Mr. Miles is. I'm just learning it slower than Mr. Miles. And I will tell you, doing even though the animation is relatively simplistic, for those that are patrons and stuff, you may have already seen my Jem'Hadar breakdown. But those battles are relatively simple. Like the Jem'Hadar battle included a Galaxy-class ship, 3 runabouts, and 3 Jem'Hadar fighters. That was hell to animate, and there wasn't even that much animation, right? So Wolf 359, you're talking 40 starships and a cube. Holy crap, is that going to be a challenge to put together? And so that's 41 layers plus the background layer, because you have to have the star field, plus all the visual effects of the phaser beams and stuff going back and forth. That's going to be hell to put together. Same thing when I get to Sacrifice of Angels. Oh man, and so those battles are going to be freaking insane. So as I get to the larger battles, I'm better have improved my skill and or gotten help. One of those two things. So we'll see what happens. But so eventually there will be a Wolf 359 battle breakdown, but I'm starting with the smaller, simpler things, and like I say, I think Jem'Hadar was actually, that was pushing it for me right now. Actually, Voyager versus the Borg probe is not a bad idea for the next one. Voyager versus Equinox is also a good one, Thomas. And Sean says Voyager versus Equinox as well. Darth says, I think DS9 should have, whoa, and there goes the chat again because I'm so far behind. I think DS9 should have had a Borg episode where a random Borg sphere shows up and everyone scrambles to fight, and we see defiant anti-Borg tech in action. Honestly, that could have been okay, but the problem is that from when we saw in First Contact, assuming that we're consistent here, well, we saw the devastating effect the quantum torpedoes had on a Borg sphere in First Contact. Would there really have been that much of a battle? And that's the thing. And that's something that I think people misunderstand about the Star Trek, shows a lot of the time. It's not just about the pew-pew who wins. It's about, especially when it comes to the Borg, it's about coming up with a clever way to beat them, because you can't just beat them in a straight-up fight. Now, granted, that sphere, its defenses were probably down because the Enterprise defenses were all down, so that's why the quantum torpedoes worked on it. If it had defenses in place, probably wouldn't have done that. It does not have to be an error. My Corporate maneuver review note said that ships might be able to fly normally in reverse, normally in reverse, even in reverse. Well, here's the problem with that, Vile. I agree that flying in reverse can happen in space, but in the actual show that I accidentally, just so you guys know, I accidentally animated in one scene from the Jem'Hadar battle a Dominion ship going backwards. I basically had it pointing the wrong way, because those are Dominion ships. It's kind of hard to tell which way is forward sometimes. So it's going backwards, and I screwed it up. Now, yes, that could actually happen. You could actually fly in reverse into the ship in Suicide Run, but what we saw on screen was it flow forward in the Suicide Run. You should do a Kirk versus the Borg video. That might come eventually, but that's a hypothetical battle. Right now I'm focusing on actual battles. And in fact, someone suggested like a week ago or so that I do the battle from Vendetta, which is an incredible battle, but that's one that will probably be a little ways down the road. I do want to do that one, though, because it's really good. We know that the French are like anti-Trekker, wine for breakfast. I definitely don't do wine for breakfast. Thomas says, napping at 10 a.m. Auntie's an old dog. that's what she does. She naps and she eats and she goes for walks. That's pretty much her day. Right, Auntie? Yeah. My first post was about the card game again. It was my strategy for the deck. Oh, okay. I was like, what are you even talking about? I thought you weren't streaming. I wasn't planning on it, Mr. Miles, but a couple of people during the premiere asked me to do a live stream, so that's why I'm here. Did I miss your answer? Is Miles really his name? My answer was you'd have to ask Miles because I'm not going to give Miles his personal information to anybody. And then either by confirming or denying his name. So you would have to ask Mr. Miles, not me. Rocksalt says the only drama Intriger has with Gary is the hate towards me. That's true. That is true. Berta Prey says slept late. Wow, that is unusual for you. And then napped after breakfast. Is that why people were saying napping? I thought or Tom said napping. I thought talking about Auntie here, but okay. From what I heard, the first 3 episodes were set on Earth of Picard. I've heard that too, but again, I don't care what the articles say. Show me the show. And here's the thing. And this is actually, let me talk about this for just a minute. I apologize. I know I'm behind in the chat, but this is actually at the core of my problem with the Phantom Menace. All right, so reports say, and I know Bird reported on this, and I'm going to assume it's accurate, that the first 3 episodes of Picard are set on Earth. Now, Bird did an epic rant. It was hilarious to listen to, as Bird's rants always are, about the fact that it's called Star Trek, not Earth Trek. You don't set Star Trek on Earth, right? Okay, I'm down with that. However, we do know, based on the premise of the show from the trailers and stuff, when the show begins, Picard is retired. Picard is on his vineyard. Picard is no longer an officer in Starfleet. And what was that? Okay, it's a direct message. Anyway, so Picard is retired. Picard is on Earth. Now, those 3 episodes that build up to him going into space and going on this mission, are they going to be great character and situational development episodes? Or are we just wasting time watching Picard sitting around on his vineyard? We don't know. For all we know, it's like, here's the thing. If you were to judge The Expanse based on the first few episodes of the series, you would say The Expanse is boring, it's slow, it sucks. But when The Expanse goes Batwoman crazy in the 2nd and 3rd and 4th seasons, if you didn't have that slow time at the beginning to build these characters and to develop the universe that they're in, then none of it would have been all that deep and exciting and emotional later on down the road. So just because you have 3 episodes set on Earth does not mean it sucks. And this is exactly what happened with Rise of Skywalker. Because I guarantee you that someone, I don't know who, I don't care who, someone out there is going to hate on Picard because the first 3 episodes are set on Earth, regardless of the quality of those episodes. Because they read on paper that the first 3 episodes are set on Earth, and they've already decided that that is a strike against the show before they even know the context of those episodes. All right, and that's important, because that's the difference between me and some of the other members of the Phantom Menace out there. I don't care what the reports say about whether or not this plot point or this plot point or this plot point, right? Like we've heard that Hugh is deborgified. Oh well, that's gonna suck now. Why? Maybe he's a great character, maybe he's not, right? We've heard that 7 of 9 doesn't really know Picard. Oh, well, that's just stupid. Why? So people don't get worked up over the plot points or character points that we hear out of context. Watch the show and then judge the show for what it is. That's what I try to do. But that's also why I make some unpopular statements sometimes, like the idea that Captain Marvel is not the worst movie ever made, or that Rise of Skywalker is not the worst movie ever made. And the reason I say those things is because I don't care how Batwoman crazy Brie Larson is. What I care about is what do I see on screen? And what I saw on screen was a passable movie with a flat main character, but a really good supporting cast, right? What I saw in Rise of Skywalker was a choppy first act to an interesting conclusion to an impossible to make sequel, right? And instead of seeing all the politics, instead of seeing all the stuff that I read about. Tim says, bringing a Worf would validate Galaxy Quest, though. It would validate Galaxy Quest, okay. Midnight Mass, no, I'm not Catholic. They bring Michael Dorn in and Andrew Carey and make him someone else. They could do that. I figured it all been fun still, or you know what you could do is have Worf communicate on audio only. And you see, the real question is, are we going to see any Klingons? I figured it all has been fun. Still funny how easy it is to compare to Gary and you being dodged by him. Makes it a funny skit in my head with a Benny Hill theme play. Well, here's the problem that happened, and this is honest truth here. Gary started talking a little bit about me on some of his streams about, oh, well, I can't believe Anti-Tracker does this. Anti-Tracker, come on, man. I want to talk to you. Reach out to me. So this was like a month ago, right, in December. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll send him a message. So I sent him a message on the only avenue that I had. I actually had two ways to reach out to him. I sent him a message on both of them. No response. And so then weeks later, well, you know, Anti-Tracker, I told him to contact me, but he never reached out. Yes, I did. I sent out a couple of messages to you. And so it was a little frustrating. Well, as it turns out, the avenues of approach that I was trying to contact him with were outdated. And I didn't know this. He never told me. So there was a little bit of lack of communication there. So that's why the other day, he actually, we managed to connect through one of the outdated modes of communication and exchange phone numbers so that we could communicate directly. And so now we actually have an open line of communication. So there was a little bit of frustration, but not like crazy. Let's see. All right. What do you consider political propaganda? Star Trek TOS was political commentary on its times. There's a difference between commentary and propaganda. Commentary simply shows you a dilemma, but doesn't force an answer on you. Propaganda, the very definition of propaganda is to use film or other media to convince you of a particular point of view, right? So propaganda, for example, in Star Wars is a feminist propaganda film. It's designed to try and show you that women are superior to men. And Star Trek Discovery is it's trying to be an anti-conservative, pro-diversity propaganda piece, right? Where the important thing is a superficial level of diversity, and that everybody thinks exactly the same way, and that way must be a far left liberal agenda. That's propaganda. Now, commentary is different. Commentary might be, hey, have you thought about racism? Let's look at Loki and Beale, right? Now, the interesting thing about the Let That Be Your Last Battlefield, an incredible episode of the original series, it doesn't take sides. Loki is clearly the establishment. Beale is clearly the establishment. Loki is clearly the person who feels they are oppressed, right? And this was during the 60s when this stuff was really at a head. But they did not say Loki is right and Beale is wrong. They didn't say Beale is right and Loki is wrong. They just sat back, let you see their arguments, and say, isn't hate pointless? That is beautiful political commentary, not propaganda. It's not trying to convince you to vote one way or the other. It's trying to show you the pointlessness of hate. So that's beautiful. And unfortunately, we don't get that level of commentary in modern television. Violacca says, I kind of agree with the anti-trigger, dislike the idea of Q, but I love John DeLance's portrayal. Oh yeah, John DeLance is a fine actor, and yes, he's enjoyable as Q when Q makes sense. And there's my favorite Batwoman crazy subscriber, Alexander, puts $2 Canadian in and says, Asian Muslim life born in the USSR is the best choice. Now, Viacom, does that mean that we may see a Sovereign and Galaxy and Intrepid class together? Yes. Viacom, says here's the deal with the merger. Viacom now owns Paramount and CBS. It's all under Viacom, which means that there is no more separation of licenses of movie and television Trek. They are all under the Viacom family again, which is where they started. And so, yes, there's no longer any constraints on CBS to use any class of starship from any iteration of Trek. They absolutely have the right to use everything. And so but will they? Or are they going to continue this crap? I'm hoping that the Viacom leadership, and I understand, and I don't know for sure, and this is not my wheelhouse. This is stuff you would have to talk to Gary or Midnight's Edge or those guys about. But my understanding is that the Viacom wheelhouse cares more about Trek than CBS does. So if that is the case, then we could see good Trek in the future. I would love to know what Spock thinks of the Borg. I think Spock would say they are eminently logical, but not preferable. Vorta O'Prey was in command of that Jem'Hadar ship. Yes, indeed. What about some Kill Bill battle breakdowns? Well, that wouldn't work. Here's the thing about the battle breakdowns, number one sci-fi. I like Kill Bill, don't get me wrong, but I'm not going to do a sword fight type or a gunfight kind of thing, because I think part of the fun of the battle breakdowns is to do that top-down grid and look at the positions and what people are trying to do. And you can't do that with a one-on-one gunfight or something. Now, you could, but boy, would that be a lot of work. Who knows? Maybe eventually. But Kill Bill, again, not knocking the movie. I love Kill Bill, but doesn't quite fit the flow of this channel either. I kind of focus on sci-fi. Bird said he was napping. Okay, well, birds do sleep a lot. Perhaps you should do a video on the battle between the orphans and the she-males. That is weird. I'm sorry, I'm partly responsible for the live stream. The rest of the fault is Stanley. That's okay. I'm here. We're having fun. That's all that matters. Jeff says, sorry, I guess I did miss your answer the first time. That's okay, Jeff. Peter says, unless he hits beamed up out of nowhere, that would be silly. Unless he hits beamed up out of nowhere, that would be silly. I'm not sure what you mean there, Peter. Sorry, I lost you. Doctor says, I think Shed knew of Picard, but not. I think she knew Picard, but not Picard person. Yes, that's what they said. I saw an interview with Jerry Ryan, and she said that 7 of 9 at this point knows Picard by reputation, has never met him. And so this series will show their first meeting. And also that she apparently has a very Cisco-esque attitude about Picard. That she blames him for the problems that the Borg have dealt with, apparently, or whatever. And Bird says, I expect her to go by her human name, Annika. We'll find out. DS9, 90% of the show takes place in the station or planet, yet none whined about that. Exactly. But, you know, but that's because DS9 is just freaking awesome. And that's the thing. If Picard is awesome, yes, people will be forgiving. But right now we need to stop judging the show based on premise pieces and plots. We need to look at the actual execution of the show. Also, I understand, and I'm right there with you guys that get pissed off about this. The whole idea that the Federation being corrupt is supposed to be a parallel for the Trump administration, I find offensive. That being said, if it's well executed and not on the nose saying this is the Trump administration, then I'm okay with it. Picard's investigation should logically begin on Earth because that's where he is at the start. Exactly. And so I would see, and I don't know, but I would see that you have the first episode is basically Picard on his vineyard, basically the reluctant hero saying, you know what, there's problems out there in the galaxy. I've done my bit. I'm not coming. Right. In the second episode, I think that that's probably when he'll meet the girl. Like, I'm guessing that the girl will probably be the very last shot of the first episode. It's typical of these streaming shows. Like, Picard is like decided he's not doing anything, and then he looks up and there's the girl and she's like, I need your help. Cut to black, credits, and then we'll see what happens next time, right? So we meet the girl. She convinces Picard, whether it's because of the positronic brain or whatever, she convinces Picard that he needs to act. He goes to Starfleet headquarters, gets shot down. Third episode is Picard making the decision to go outside of Starfleet and get a ship, find a crew, and take off on his adventure, and then we're out in space. There's nothing wrong with that. That's a solid 3 episodes if it's done well. It's something that you don't have to rush. And so I'm perfectly okay with that. Or maybe it'll be 3 episodes of Picard sitting around drinking wine and being bored out of his mind. Rise of Skywalker was a slow burn. It was a hold my beer and I'm gonna do something cool, racing through things and glossing over details. I'll just sit in the corner hating things. Yeah, you'd like to hate things. That's okay. Mr. Miles says, I am worried because of what Patrick Stewart said, the whole Trump thing, but I also recall Enterprise Season 3 was themed after 9/11 and weapons of mass destruction, but good season. Yeah, and it's like, here's the thing. That may have been the template, like for Enterprise Season 3, the template for it may have been 9/11, but it didn't feel like 9/11. What was the outdated Facebook? Twitter? Not sure what you mean there. Just watch Piano Dean is in the house. Says, just watch the video. That was some great editing and imagery. Yeah, Mr. Miles really went above and beyond with that. It was freaking awesome. And welcome, Piano Dean. Robert says, Anti-Trigger, wonder if Picard's series is going to tie all good things together. Since Data was destroyed in the last TNG movie, since he's no longer there to help, I mean, Picard ends up and destroying all of reality now. No. I don't think we're going to see, it's not going to have anything to do with all good things, because, first of all, Data is dead. You know, I'm sorry, Data is effing dead. He is not coming back. That was already established, and I hope that they stick to that. What we see, like with Data doing the painting, probably a dream, and I would guess that because of the fact that Picard and Data are both wearing TNG-era uniforms, which are outdated even by the Children of Mars point, because you saw Admiral Picard in a newer uniform. So they're in the classic TNG uniforms. By the way, that's the only classic TNG-looking thing in the entire everything we've seen. But when we see them in those classic TNG uniforms, that makes sense that it'll be a dream. Funny that Picard happens to dream that Data has puffed up and everything and looks different, but, you know, that's okay. And the whole weapon of mass destruction thing turned out to be a lie, yet the Xindi storyline still holds up. Yeah! You're absolutely right. And let's see. Aberjam says they should bring Worf into Star Trek Picard so he can finally get his medal from Princess Leia. Thomas says, what's with the people bothering you on Twitter while you are streaming? I know, Thomas. I can't believe that some jerk would do that. Modern feminism is female supremacy? Unfortunately, yes. The Borg versus the Doomsday Machine, your opinion, or could it be a video you make? That is a video I will eventually make because, Eric, that is exactly what happens in the novel Vendetta. And holy crap, is that a battle to behold. It is actually the final battle in Vendetta, if I remember correctly, it's been a while since I've read it. It involves, by the way, we find out that the Doomsday Machine was actually just the scaled down prototype. The real Doomsday Machine is in this book, which is several times larger and more powerful than the original. So the new Doomsday Machine is in a battle involving the Doomsday Machine itself, I think 2 or 3 Federation starships, and like 3 Borg cubes. And holy crap, is that a battle. Let's see. Alexander's Asian Muslim wife. Good to see you, Alexander. Alexander says, we spoke for 4 hours yesterday. It was fun. Yes, it was indeed fun. But, well, it was fun for the hour and a half I was there, and so if you were there for 4 hours, man, his head must be melted right now. I'm not as much a Star Wars fan as some. I think the movie was actually not bad if you ignore previous movies in canon, dumbed down for all possible viewers. Well, actually, I think that, I honestly don't think you have to ignore all previous movies in canon. The problem is that you have to make a sequel to Last Jedi, which crushed canon. And so basically you have to try and pull back from that. And JJ does the best he could. John DeLance is great, even if Q does not make sense. Agreed. What about NX? We should see it in a museum or pilot training ships. Yeah, the NX, that's the thing. I would rather see the NX than the frickin' McGee class. Oh, that's an ugly ship. Tim says, I met John DeLance 3 times, twice in my hometown. Oh, very cool. Local conventions here, once in Gen Con. Of course, he never remembered me. Great, respectful guy, though. Well, yeah, you don't expect, like these celebrities, they meet thousands of people every day. And Alexander puts another $2 in. I would dream about 7 of 9 instead of Data. I know you would. I know you would. But here's the funny thing, Tim, and this is something that I'm beginning to struggle with, to be honest with you. And it's kind of an odd feeling, is that, like, right now there are 73 people watching this very live stream. Do I know all 73 of these people by name? Probably not. Now it's becoming more and more common for me to see names that I don't recognize, and it's hard, and I can't keep track of everybody, right? And that is, and so now I can't even imagine. A celebrity meets thousands of people at every convention they go to. I might meet, a few new people each time, and I'm having trouble remembering. I can't even believe that. The weirdest thing, and this was kind of funny. It's one of those things that I was talking to Mrs. Anti-Checker about this a little last night, is when I was on DJ's stream last night. Now, I know Captain Foley was in the chat, but it felt kind of weird to be the biggest channel in the room. I've never been in that position. I'm always used to being the one that gets to poke fun at the other guys for being so big, right? And I'm like, oh, crap. That's a weird feeling. It's not something I've never experienced before. So, yeah. So I got a feel for celebrities on that level. Granted, what I experience is a tiny, tiny, tiny little taste of what they go through on a daily basis. I couldn't even imagine what William Shatner deals with going to a convention. And, like, let's say let's say Shatner came back to Nashville, because I saw him the last time he was in Nashville. Oh, Mr. Shatner, great to see you again. He'd be like, who the hell are you? Right? And that's the thing. It would be stupid for me to assume that he remembers me. Because unless I'm actually, like, having dinner with him one-on-one and hanging out with him or something, kicking back and putting back a scotch with him or something, he's not going to know who the hell I am. Resolute says, unfortunately, merger came too late to have any effect on Season 1 of Picard. That is very true. So Season 1 of Picard will be actually, I'll say this. Season 3 of Discovery will be the last Star Trek not affected by the merger, right? Because and so when we get to Season 2 of Picard or Season 4 of Discovery, now we have the merger in place, and we'll see if there's any differences. Darden says they couldn't put a Sovereign class in DS9 or Voyager. The closest we got is a Defiant in First Contact. They were under one roof at the time. What gives? Actually, no, they were. There was a licensing issue at that point. Paramount Pictures. At the time of Deep Space Nine, Paramount Pictures had the movie rights while CBS had the television rights. And so, and they were owned by Viacom, but they were kept as separate, distinct entities. And so CBS couldn't just use a Paramount asset, and Paramount couldn't just use a CBS asset like they can now. Let the sword fight breakdowns to Shadversary. Oh, yeah, I think I've seen that. I can't pronounce it, but I think I've seen it. Cinnabon says, without putting Anti-Trekker in it because he's a jerk, do a video attempting to explain Starship reverse thrust in the Trek universe. Why? That's easy. It's reverse thrust. I'm still waiting on the multi-part, hour-long reviews of that Barbie movie. That's not... with all due respect to my good, crazy, insane friend Alexander, it's not going to be a multi-part, hours-long review. The Barbie review is going to be a single part. Unless Picard gets beamed up out of nowhere at the very start, and trigger, that would be silly. Peter, out of context, I don't understand. You're saying that it would be silly to just jump into space, or we have to have some setup. Okay, good. Yeah, I agree. Another says, what do you think about her regaining her humanity? Well, on the one hand, I think that would be this is so Voyager ended, and I'm not sure exactly. I mean, there's probably 10 years between Voyager and the destruction of Romulus, and another 10 to 15 years before Picard. So we're talking 20 to 25 years post Voyager getting home. During that time, no doubt Annika /7 was probably in therapy, was probably, reuniting with family and all that. So after 25 years, yes, I would expect her to be different. I would expect her to be a little more at ease with her humanity than she was on Voyager. That being said, if she was really pissed at Picard, I couldn't see her smiling at him. So I'll have to see the context of her in the show. Let's hope they use next-gen ships and not Discovery ships, and the Mars short trek is not the norm. Yes, we will hope for that. I have your April Fool's joke for you. Chevy Equinox versus Dodge Voyager Battle Breakdown. That's actually hilarious. And the funny thing is, I have a Chevy Equinox. If I could get my hands on a Dodge Voyager, that would be freaking awesome. Wait, no one... I already have half that battle. Wait, no one whined about what was this? Wilderness is my home, and why bring some of your Federation medicine to the natives? You find them a quaint folk, haha. Well, and that's the thing. That was a good, Deep Space Nine, and you'll see in my Jem'Hadar video, those of the seen it already know, Deep Space Nine challenged the ideals of the Federation hardcore and in a very effective way, in my opinion. Maybe the shot of Picard with 7 during the first episode at the Vineyard. I don't know. I doubt it. I think that once Picard gets the wind of what's going on, I think he goes to 7. Because this is unfortunate that I know this, but from the interview with Jerry Ryan, she says that 7 is part of some kind of freedom fighter group. And it's like, wait a minute. Freedom fighters? Who are they fighting? Are they fighting the Federation? Is the Federation that tyrannical? And what the hell happened? Starfleet was also a little flaky. Look at those admirals that made serious mistakes. A competent admiralty would not have been so many screw-ups. That's true. Just to be clear, the news is at least the first 3 episodes take place on Earth. Yeah, but that's irrelevant, Bird. It doesn't matter. If all but the last episode of the series takes place on Earth, but it's excellent, I don't care. We need Neelix and Picard. Of course you would say that. And who's being a jerk now? Let's see. This time it was someone that I'm not sure who that is. Someone sounds like anime where the protagonist looks weird, blue hair, bodybuilder, tattoos, and a crowd. Oh, I wonder who's the protagonist. Jeff says, wine, tea, and Earl Grey. Hot. Valor says, I hate to say it, but we've already have a glimpse of how many of the Phantom Menace will react to Picard just by looking at the reactions of those during The Rise of Skywalker. I hope you're wrong, Valor. I do. That's all I'll say. I hope you're wrong. Thomas says, first episode, Picard is looking for his pills, yelling at kids in his vineyard, and watching the Weather Channel. That would be freaking hilarious. Yes, sir. That was really some beautiful stuff. Oh, to Mr. Miles, yes. And by the way, speaking of, I was thinking about doing a video about this because here's the thing. Let me see if I can find it real quick to show you guys. Where is live stream assets? And it's under super chats, I believe. Where is? Oh, I'm not sure where it is, but there is. I had a video. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not sure where it is, but I actually had a video. I thought it was kind of funny that has the Federation News Network FNN, which we saw in Children of Mars. That slow pace for Picard only works if you have a real season of 20-plus episodes, not 10-episode wannabe seasons we're stuck with today. Well, here's the problem. Yes and no. I agree that first of all, you guys know I think it's absolute lazy, cheap, and crap that they don't do 20-episode seasons. I think that Picard should be at least 23 episodes. That being said, if they 10 episodes, we'll say 45 minutes an episode, so what is that, roughly 7.5 hours or so, right? So in a 7.5 hour movie, if you spend the first 2 hours building up by having someone doing something rather mundane like being on Earth in a Star Trek series, that's reasonable as long as the payoff at the end is worth it. And that's the thing. It doesn't matter if they do half the season on Earth, that's fine as long as the payoff at the end is worth it. What is going to piss me off a little bit, and they do this too often in streaming shows, is if the entire season is just a build-up for a cliffhanger. That will piss me off. And Aberjam says, I don't think it's wrong to judge an uncupping show based on the history of those making it. If a man with a history of violence approached you, would you treat him with caution, wouldn't you? Well, here's the thing, Aberjam. No. There's a difference between what you're saying. Now, if you were, what I would say is if somebody asks, are you confident that Picard is going to be a good show? I say, no, I'm not. Because from what we've seen, the people at CBS have produced crap Star Trek, right? So based on their reputation, I would say, am I confident it's going to be a good show? No, I'm not. However, that does not change the fact that I don't know what the show is. And I'm not going to make a single judgment about the show until I actually see it. Because that's unfair to the show to judge it based on the reputation of those behind it, because they could be making an awesome show. Look, I'm one of those people that didn't like Voyager. And I liked pretty much every other Trek series, except for Discovery. However, just because Voyager was not great in my eyes didn't mean I was going to say, well, I'm not going to watch Enterprise. Voyager sucked. See? In fact, I would even go so far as say I hated the first season of Star Trek The Next Generation, and yet I was back for season 2. What about B4? What about B4? Maybe this is a tryout to copy data made for him, but he understands then it's not reality. Maybe this is a tryout to copy data. Oh, I see what you're saying, made for him. You're talking about the painting scene? No, I'm pretty sure it's a dream. Because we've seen the copies of Data, and they don't look like Data. Do you think the Fairness Rangers sound stupid? And what do you think Seven's Megazord looks like? Well, as far as Seven's Megazord, I hope that doesn't happen. As far as however you say the Rangers, that she's a part of the Freedom Fighter group, I'm not going to say it sounds stupid because I don't have the context. I don't know who, she said that they're freedom fighters, but who are they fighting? And why? Vendetta Antiquary, I've myself read it like 3 times. Yes, awesome freaking book. Piano Dean says, what do you think of Neil deGrasse Tyson? I have a chance to go to one of his events this Wednesday in Charleston. Holy crap, am I jealous of you, Dean. I love Neil deGrasse Tyson. I disagree with him on from a philosophical standpoint or theological standpoint, but he is such a charismatic scientist. I love listening to him talk. I could listen to that man just quote mathematical statistics all day. He is awesome. And he's got a great sense of humor. He's got a very boisterous personality. I would love to meet the man. Sean says, didn't Patrick Stewart say that somewhere he didn't want to wear uniforms? He said there was the only one scene where he thought uniforms were necessary. I haven't heard him say that, but, maybe. And let's see, making sure there's nothing I'm missing. All right. And let's see. Mr. Miles says, I could tell you earlier that Asher isn't his biggest fan. You would be wrong, Mr. Miles. I love Neil deGrasse Tyson. I just disagree with him on a theological perspective. And so, bam. Darth Vader says, "Oh, do you remember my real name?" Yes, and I saw it in my phone. So, yes. You'll never forget my name. That's very true. Stop sending me messages, people. That's getting annoying. I'm gonna stop using Twitter at this point. I don't even, because every time, so someone is, so I don't know who so I understand you're sending me the stuff about Picard, but, we'll see. And, like, if you're saying reoccurring returning class, Brent Spiner is Data, an android who served with Picard, blah, 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 blah. But, yes, he is dead. He is not coming back. So you're going to see him either in holodeck imagery or dreams or flashbacks. That's it. Crippled Bazooka says, Andrea, thanks for the Borg video. It's the reason I'm subscribed. Well, thank you, Crippled Bazooka. But, of course, don't forget to thank Mr. Miles for all those incredible visuals. If I go to a convention, Andrea, everyone knows me. If you go to a convention... well, Peter, then you must be a lot more famous than I realized. The best way to make a celebrity remember you is to slap them. Not hard, but enough to make it memorable. Well, Bird, you go ahead and try that. Admiral Sabal says, yo, morning, mate. How you doing, Admiral Sabal? Alexander says, Anti-Tricker, if you would, the blonde client, then have named me your hero. Okay, not sure what you mean. Speaking of the future Borg versus videos, finish Stargate. I insist we do some Borg versus Wraiths and Borg versus Replicators. Honestly, Andrew, how hard is it to say ass it? It's asset. I agree with Mr. Miles. Finish Stargate. Yeah, okay. Give me, you know what? Get me 100,000 subscribers so I don't have to go back to work. Now that my knee is starting to recover a little bit, even though I still can't move my leg. And so I might have some time in the near future, but it's not going to do me any good if I'm now working 8 hours a day. I'd like to see the first Federation versus the Borg, just for fun. That actually is something that I thought about. The biggest problem with the first Federation versus the Borg is that we don't know the extent of the offensive and defensive capabilities of the Fesarius, only that it is significantly larger than a cube. Actually, no, the cube is actually larger than the Fesarius, I believe. Fesarius is over a mile. That's the problem. We also don't have precise measurements of the Fesarius, where we do on the cube. In Twitter, I'm going to send you a screenshot of the article. Of course you are. I would think 7 of 9 and Picard would learn about and find each other because of their shared experience being part of the collective. Yeah, but I don't think that's going to happen. Aberjam says, you're right about Annika changing. People have changed a lot over 25 years. That's why I'm forgiving Luke's arc in The Last Jedi more than some. See, but the thing about Luke, here's my problem with Luke. So people do change over time, right? And so it's one thing to go from someone who is struggling with her humanity to someone who has regained her humanity. That's a natural arc. But with Luke, you went from someone who is a self-sacrificing hero who saves the rebellion to a coward. They made his character the opposite of what he was. And while something like that can happen, I didn't buy it for Luke. That would be like if in this Star Trek, Picard ends up being the bad guy, that he is the evil dictator. Because Picard would be anything but that. Do you know what defense fields are? I've seen Wrath of Khan when Enterprise goes to yellow alerts and they taken over the Reliant for the first time being attacked. Always wondered. Yeah, so when they say energizing defense fields is what they say in that. The idea there is that a defense field is not a thing. The idea behind that is that's basically getting all of the defensive systems online. Defense fields, plural, means, shields, screens, everything is getting ready. And so I think sometimes we read a little too much into it, but yeah, and it's also making sure that, repair crews are on standby and all that. It's basically just make sure everything is at the ready. The Federation becoming the military, the Federation became the military. That's what 7 is trying to fight. Well, first of all, the Federation can't become the military. Starfleet could become the military because Federation is the government. Starfleet is the military already. And if that is the premise, if it's that oh my God, Starfleet is now the military, we need to fight, then I'm going to roll my eyes at the premise. That doesn't mean the show's going to suck, but I'm going to roll my eyes at that premise because I'm so sick of people saying Starfleet is not the military. People are freaking stupid idiots that do not understand what a military is. Starfleet has always been the military. I'm sorry, Jean-Luc, you are an idiot for saying that it was not. However, I understand that when Jean-Luc said that was season 1 of TNG, which was the most fat, lazy, bloated, bad time for the Federation in history, which is why they deserve to get their asses kicked by the Borg. Let's see. Alexander says, "Hey, Terry, that blonde from Wisconsin is stunning. She again called me her hero." Well, I don't know who that blonde from Wisconsin is. Darth Maul says, "Actually, it's a Plymouth Voyager. Plymouth has been around for nearly 20 years, but a Dodge Caravan with a Plymouth Voyager sticker would do perfectly." Well, I'll just find an old Plymouth Voyager. Maybe Picard will be hollering at 2 hobbits stealing his grapes in the first episode. That would be hilarious. Sorry for derailing the current conversation with my untimely, unrated questions. Well, if you're talking about something you sent me on Twitter, that's all right. I'll get over it, but I try not to send me tweets while I'm streaming. Video channel GTA Shenanigans, copyright content your love featuring what? Oh, you had a copyright because Your Love, the song, got copyright. Yep, that happens. That's why you gotta, when you play, if you're gonna do anything involving video game footage, make sure you turn down the music. I've been copyright claiming Bird of Prey. Yep. Is too much popular now. He doesn't recognize people anymore. We need to stop him. I'm too popular. No, you don't need to stop me from being popular, Alexander. Don't worry, I will never forget you. Even if I never live stream again in my life, I will never forget you. Darth Vader says, though I can't watch the episode for the Inner Light should have been fundamentally changed Picard. LOL. Also can't watch Coco movie. I've never seen the Coco movie. But yeah, there are a few episodes that really should have changed. Like Chain of Command should have changed Picard. Q-Who should have changed Picard. Obviously, Best of Both Worlds should have changed Picard, and they didn't. But that's just a symptom of 80s style writing, where it's very episodic, that no matter what happens, the magic reset button, and next week everything's exactly the way it was. Well, we saw at the end of Nemesis Entry that Data's memories were surfacing. Well, I don't think we're going to see B4. I think I just don't. I think that's. I think that B4 was a cheap cop out to Data's death. And from what I've heard from Brent Spiner, I don't think that that's an option. As judging DS9 by Voyager or TNG1 overcoming the exception, Star Trek's historical record was good. The opposite of true CBS and of CBS sci-fi in general. But you see, Aberjam, here's the thing. CBS owned Star Trek during the Deep Space Nine era on. So now Paramount Productions actually made the episode, but CBS actually has a overall positive track record, even though Discovery is awful. In your own time, watch what I sent you, explains what Picard and Data is. Stop sending me stuff. Kurtzman said the mandate for the series to make a more psychological show, a character study about this man in his emeritus years. Yeah, but again, I don't care what Kurtzman says. What I care about is what I see on screen. That's what you guys got to get into your heads, is that we get worked up. And there's Alexander puts another $2 in and says, maybe we'll see after instead of B4. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know what we're going to get, but I don't think Data is resurrected in any way. I don't think we're going to see lore. I don't think we're going to see B4. I think we're going to see those parts in a drawer, which is either lore or B4. The Federation does have access to both, but I don't think that we're going to see Brent Spiner playing a droid in the modern context. Now, anyway, I just want to say, as far as what Dan was saying, as far as what Kurtzman says, don't get worked up over what Kurtzman says. All right, Kurtzman, yes, is the showrunner, and he may, but people are going to say all this crap. What matters is what's on screen. It does not matter what he says. He can say a million things. You know what, people, it's so hilarious to listen to actors, directors, producers, and stuff talk about their works, because they will always say crap like that about, they'll say, well, the Terminator is supposed to be a deep psychological study of the trauma of the modern American woman as she's suffering from being constantly oppressed by the patriarchy. No, it's about time-traveling robots, all right? So you have to take with a grain of salt whenever they talk about this stuff. Right. Kurtzman is saying it's a mandate to the series to be a more psychological show, a character study about a man in his emeritus years. No, it's about an old man going to space, blowing things up. Right. So don't get worked up about what they say. They're trying to make it sound artsy fartsy to appease the Hollywood crowd. Now, maybe it is all of that and boring and suckage and nobody wants to get CBS All Access. Maybe CBS All Access really just wants to lose money. Or maybe it's a good show, but Kurtzman could sit there and give diarrhea of the mouth all day, and it's not going to change what Picard is. Sean tells Peter to see Guardians of the Galaxy. Okay. And telling me that too. I've seen Guardians of the Galaxy many times. Mary, DC, and Gary are a bit too emotional when it comes to their emotional attachment to the fandom. But here's the thing, Valor. They're passionate. As am I. And I understand that, and I respect that, but the problem is you have to let your emotions be in the right place. The time to get emotional is not based on the statements of actors and directors and producers and writers. It is when you see their final product, not 1 minute before. Because if you were to listen to James Cameron or Gene Roddenberry or George Lucas or Brie Larson or any other Hollywood mover or shaker over the course of the history of Hollywood, if you were just to listen to them, every movie sucks. Subscribe. Vile says, everyone in chat, subscribe to Andy Trigger and tell your friends, family, and strangers on the street to subscribe so he will finish Stargate. Indeed. I did see several things on Twitter, private message. Hope this information is useful in doing the series. Thank you, Dan. Although try not to do it during a live stream. First Federation is the subject of a book, Face of the Unknown. The other problem is books are not canon. They can be really interesting and a lot of fun, but they're not canon. So we don't have any solid information on the First Federation. With the return of Hugh Laurie, will he still have the Vicodin addiction? Yeah, wrong Hugh. You're only 12 minutes behind. That's not too bad. Your ability to keep up with 80 people talking to you simultaneously while elaborating on every point is very impressive. Thank you. Although I wouldn't say that impressive, but I try. And that's why I only read the ones that have @Anti-Trekker in them. That's why it says that above my head. While the wrong name is still attached to the show, many will write it off from day one. That's the problem. But you see, write off the show when you see that it sucks, not when you see that someone says something about the show that you don't like. Star Trek video game Tactical Assault, you can make dropship to red alert or yellow alert. You don't have to power to weapons. That's a video game. That's not the show. And here's the thing. I know Energized Defense Fields, that's the one and only time that you really hear that said. And all that, and the thing is that the thing that makes Star Trek 2 special is it's a very different Trek. It was unlike any Trek we saw before. They truly treated everything on the ship as if they were in the Navy. And so they didn't say, they didn't say deflector shields up, sir, but until the deflectors were actually on or offline, right? A Star Trek video game, I already read that. Aberjam says, you may not like an answer, but any character growth you can think of, the opposite is totally possible given the right circumstances. I've seen it happen in real life. Well, yeah, it's possible, but here's the thing, Aberjam, and this is my problem with stuff like, people, and I believe me, I've heard this, it's realistic that Luke could have post-traumatic stress disorder. It's realistic that Luke could have flip-flopped. It's realistic that I don't go to Star Wars for realistic psychological drama. I go to Star Wars for space wizards and laser swords. All right, that's why I go to Star Wars. And I wanted to see Luke effing Skywalker with a laser sword kicking some ass, and we never got it. Why? Because they wanted to turn it into how he, he's a symbol of the patriarchy and is crumbling. So, yeah. Thomas says, once you hit 10,000, you forgot who Tom on Mead was. No, I never knew until, I still get Tom and Rob confused. That's a giant cup of thimble to everyone. That's a giant cup, a thimble to everyone else. No, it is, actually, this is a 22-ounce cup. That's a standard-sized coffee cup for me. The Federation does have a military that explores oceans. It's mentioned by Tom Paris in 30 Days. The Federation does have a military that explores oceans. Okay, I don't remember that particular line, but okay. Darth Maul says, I challenge you to find a running Plymouth Voyager, completely drivable, but if you cannot, a Dodge Caravan and the Voyager were the same vehicle, just different nameplates. Gotcha. Well, I will, but here's the thing. I'm not in Ireland. So let me see. If I were to search, let me go to Facebook, since they have that little Facebook marketplace thing. And so we go to the Facebook marketplace and search for, it's a Plymouth Voyager. All right, $800, 1998 Plymouth Voyager for sale, and it's nearby me. $1,500 for a 1998 Plymouth Grand Voyager. $1,530 for a 2000 Plymouth Voyager. $2,995 for a 1997 Plymouth Voyager. So there are 4 running Plymouth Voyagers for sale within a short distance of where I am right now. So yes, that is definitely something I could theoretically do. Data was essentially blown to bits and vaporized entry, but his memories are safe. I don't know if they're safe because that depends on if B4 was actually able. Remember, they was B4 able to retain all that information? We don't know. So we don't know that his memories are safe, and that was left as kind of a question at the end of Nemesis. I think the answer to that is no. Dr. Adams, why is Data so important to Picard? I don't cry an invasion, my old phone or toaster. Well, because we're supposed to believe that Data is a sentient being. As ludicrous as that is, that's what we're supposed to believe. Tom says, IMDb, I assume that's what he has, Brent Spire as Data in one episode. Yeah, it's probably either a flashback, hologram, or dream. Darth says, I think the synths are half Borg and half lore, so evil android with Borg tech. No. The Borg tech that we see is all in the hands of the Romulans, period. Alex Kurtzman, the Anti-Trekker Show, is about a disabled, non-binary hobbit who will fight the patriarchy with each step of their tiny feet to fight the evils of Trump. That would be exactly what Alex Kurtzman would say if this show was being produced by him. DS9 was the end of the golden age, though. Different team, different ethic. Jump forward 15 years and see what CBS has been producing recently, especially Trek. Well, I understand that, Aberjam, but here's the thing. We've only gotten one show from CBS, Star Trek Discovery. So yes, that show was horrible. This is show number 2. All right, so let's find out if it's any good before we judge it. Yes, their first jump out of the gate was a misstep, to say the least. But maybe the second one, maybe they learned from their mistakes. We'll find out in less than a week. Page 4, Scotty's Guide to the Enterprise. A secondary field coil generated forms a secondary bubble around decks A, B, C, and D. It's also graphically displayed in the movie when activated. Well, there you go. I didn't know that. So I did have Mr. Scott's Guide to the Enterprise, but I don't have it anymore. Jeff says, you are impressive. Okay. How could you not be prejudiced of a show movie if you've seen the trailers? I know I'm prejudiced to Picard, but I'm very, very disappointed if it's not good. Well, no, here's the thing. And you're missing the point there, Con. The trailers, yes, the trailers are designed to give you an impression of what the tone and the basic plot or premise is going to be, right? That is something worth creating a prejudice about. So if you see the trailers and you're like, looking at the trailers and only the trailers, I would say that Picard looks like it's a very well-produced show, but it doesn't look like anything in Trek I've ever seen because I don't see a single starship. Right? That's about it. That's about all you can really glean from it. And some basic stuff like, okay, the Borg are involved in some way. and a whole mess of androids are involved in some way. And Picard is working outside of the confines of Starfleet. But that's pretty much all you can glean from the trailers. Let's see. And thank you, Bird. And let's see, laser sword. They're called lightsabers. I know, Richie, and I hate the term laser sword. I actually do, but that's what George Lucas called them. Alexander says, I watched to see MCU Aunt May naked. We never saw her. Disgusting. You would say that. Tim says, last post there was activating defense fields. I understand. Yeah, I got that. And so yeah, and then you're right. If that's what Mr. Scott's Guide to the Enterprise is, I'll take it as soft canon. Hey, Enter, how can you think the whale probe could beat the Borg? It can drain. How are you? Oh, sorry, Zachary. Do you think the whale probe could beat the Borg? Yes, if that power drainage signal that they put out would work on the Borg tech. We don't know that. That's the problem. If the whale probe sent a signal, would it drain the power of Borg ships? If so, then yes, the Borg couldn't hurt the probe any more than the Federation could. Jeff says, 2 cups of coffee this morning. For me, I rarely do that. Oh, but 2, that's just getting started. Average Jeff says, I understand you don't want realism in your sci-fi fantasy, so I'll leave you with 2 words. Lightning lasso. Shut up. I also don't want stupid. All right? There's real... And first of all, let me say this. I do want realism in sci-fi, but I consider Star Wars to be fantasy. All right? Or do you mean science fiction fantasy, meaning that particular genre? Because, like, I would be... if The Expanse did laser swords, I would not be happy. But I do like them in Star Wars. Just to make that clear. 1997, Andy Traeger, Voyager was on the air. Yeah, that's kind of funny. Voyager was on the air when the Plymouth Voyager was in production. How much for the USS Voyager Intrepid class? For one that runs decent, it looks like $1,500 is what I'm going to need to get together. Sean Carter puts $5 in, says, good morning, wondering what you think of Star Trek Continues. I loved it. Fan films are a mixed bag for me. On the one hand, I think that they come from the right place, from a great heart and all that, and some of the stories are really interesting. But, generally speaking, I hate the acting in fan films. The only fan film I've seen that really had stellar acting to it was Axanar. Some of the fan films do passable, but most of them... the problem is that they all want to be Captain Kirk, and I'm sorry, some people, oh, he does a great Kirk. No, he doesn't. That's not a great Kirk. He doesn't look like Kirk. He doesn't sound like Kirk. And, you know, he sounds like a person trying to imitate Kirk. And I don't want to see that. I would rather see, and not Star Trek Continues, but I can't remember, there's been a couple other Star Trek fan shows where they would set it on a different ship with a different crew. And that's better, but there's still, the acting sucks. So, and that's my problem with it. Darth Maul not in Ireland. You're getting us wrong. Darth Maul's not in Ireland. Did I say Darth Maul's in Ireland? I'm sorry. I do get you guys confused sometimes because you're both Darths. Luke never was a badass with a laser sword in Star Wars. Even Return of the Jedi, he was being toyed with by his dad. Only when he touched the dark side did he start to win. He still threw away his saber. Then he still threw away his saber. He did throw away his saber in that, but that was a different context to throwing away his saber. But that was the moment he won the fight, by the way, is when he threw his saber away. But what the thing is that, yeah, now it's 25 years later or 30 years later. Luke has been training for all that time and improving. I wanted to see Luke kick ass with a lightsaber. We never got to see the badass Luke Skywalker, the fully trained master that was Luke Skywalker. And instead, we got deadbeat dad Luke Skywalker. Kurtzman has sweet swings at the bat for me. Well, he's only taken one thus far. I mean, I know there are 2 seasons of Discovery, but it's still only 1 show. Darth Maul says, damn, just looked on Marketplace, too. I haven't seen one of those things in the road for years. Well, that's it, yeah, and it would be fun to get one just for that kind of... I would actually do... I'll tell you, if my channel was like Nerdrotic size, I would buy one of those Voyagers right this minute just for... doing that, just to do a Voyager versus Equinox battle. Except, of course, this time I said, well, the Equinox seems to be a more modern ship for sure. If B4 becomes Data, they would be killing off B4 because they value Data more. Tuvix, anyone? Yeah, Data is not back. Brent Spiner made that perfectly clear. Vile Mike is heading out. Have a good one, Vile Mike. Darth Vader says, wouldn't, let me see, where was... Christopher Chadwick says, was watching your First Contact review, realized it was part 11, had to look to see if there were others, and saw you were live. Actually, that one is actually part 3, just so you know. There's a couple of Borg series that I've done, Christopher, and one is like 8 million parts long, and it's never going to be finished, but that one is like a breakdown of each Borg episode. Then we started a new, deeper Borg lore type of thing, and so that series is only 3 episodes. The first one is it's called the Borg origin theory. The second one is Borg Queen theory, and then the third one is this one here, which is about Borg tactics. And so then we're going to go into probably another 3-part series on the Dominion. And then we're going to match up the Borg and the Dominion and see who would win in a straight-up fight. But welcome, Christopher. I assume it sounds like you're new to the channel, so welcome, my friend, and I hope that you enjoy your stay. Let's see. Wouldn't Spock's last name be Waller since his mother was Amanda Waller? No, Spock does have a last name, but Vulcan last names are not pronounceable to humans, apparently. Don't judge a show by its cover first episode. Well, yeah, you gotta, I will judge, basically, here's how I'm going to judge Picard Season 1. When I'm done watching Picard Season 1. Then I will tell you what I think of Picard Season 1. Not after the first episode, not after the second episode, not even after the 9th episode. When the season is done, because there are times, The Witcher is a good example. There are times where you need that last episode for a lot of what came before it to make sense. So maybe it'll all wrap up great and you've been confused this whole time and then you go, holy crap, that was awesome. Maybe it'll just suck. We don't know. But I'm not going to judge it ahead of time. I will judge each episode on its own merit. When I watch episode 1 next week, which I'm very much looking forward to talking about, after I watch that, then I'll give you my honest appraisal of that episode. What are my impressions? Where do I think the show is going? Do I think it was well made? That kind of crap. But I am not going to say the series sucks, even if episode 1 sucks. I'm going to say, well, that's not off to a good start, Number one sci-fi says, if they had simply put Discovery in the timeline of Picard in the first place or later, then these ships would be no big deal. You're right about that. You are absolutely right about that. If they had set Discovery post-Picard, then that would, honestly, that would have fixed a lot of problems with Discovery, but that is one of them. Now, the problem is that the ships wouldn't have been a big deal, but we still have the problem in Discovery of the character structure. The character structure in Discovery is a god-awful mess. And Zabe puts $5 into the chat. Thank you so much. Here's my contribution to the Voyager Fund and number 23. Yes, for anybody that's new around here, if you do put a super chat in, you can request a super chat reward, which there is a lengthy list of. You can get the list on antitracker.com. But number 23 is by far the most popular. And no, there you go. Man, I love that one. All right, and Christopher Chadwick says, "Don't worry. Whenever I write a comment, I never expect
hate me because I cheat because I won."
By the way, that's Bird of Prey 5, and yes, he cheats. So Christopher Chadwick says, "Don't worry. Whenever I write a comment, I don't expect it to be read." You are on the wrong channel for that, my friend. I try to read as many comments as humanly possible. That's what I do around here. And not only that, so I do read every comment that has anti-tracker in it within reason. Like if I have to cut off the live stream, I have to cut off the live stream. But I actually do want, that's the whole point of these live streams. I don't do topical live streams like a lot of people. Like if you subscribe to Nerdrotic or Doomcock or whatever, where they have a specific topic they're going to talk about. Don't get me wrong, Nerdrotic and Doomcock, both friends of mine. I love them, and I love what they do. But that's not my style. Instead, my style here is to build community. We are a nerd community, and we stick together. And the best way to do that is to talk to each other, and that's what we do on these streams. So sometimes I'm talking to stuff that you guys say to me. Sometimes you guys are talking to each other, and both is awesome. So welcome to the nerd community, Chris. Now, if you do want to say something directly to me, please put @AntiTrekker in it so I won't miss it. And by the way, thank you, Bird of Prey. Bird of Prey is my director of my webmaster. Sorry, he's the one that set up antitrekker.com. He administers it, and he's going to have some more duties in the future. But he also sent me a message that you were in the chat and didn't put the Antitrekker, so I would keep an eye out for your comment. So thank you, Bird, for that, for keeping an eye out on that, because it's hard to keep up. In 30 days, Paris said, I had it all planned, finished high school, joined the Federation Naval Patrol, but my father had other... Oh, that's right. Okay. Yeah, the Federation Naval Patrol. What is that? I guess... Why would you, if Earth is all one government, why would you need a Federation Naval Patrol? Wouldn't you just need, like... Well, I guess that's like maybe the Federation Coast Guard. But, I mean, wouldn't it make more sense to be in starships? I mean... Because, like, even a McGee-class ship could beat the crap out of any boat. And search for an official site says Federation Naval Patrol is a military organization dedicated to ensuring security and exploring the oceans of member worlds. Interesting. Bird of Prey says, breaking news, Antitrekker hates fan films.
You know what? Hate me because I cheat because I won. You know what? Hate me because I cheat because I won.
And Bird of Prey cheats. Tim Cry says, what do you do for Equinox versus Voyager car battle, chicken, local racetrack, demolition derby? That'll depend on, honestly, here's the thing. And I do want to, if this channel ever gets big, I'm going to do this. What you would do is, and this would depend, like I said, just so you guys know, some of the really big channels, like millions of subscribers, they get so much money rolling in that they can afford to do this regularly. I, obviously can't, but hopefully one day we can. Is you take the ships, you paint them up to look like the USS Voyager and the USS Equinox, you mount weapons on them, like basically like paintball guns and stuff, and you reenact the battle in some kind of like open field or something like that, and try to duplicate the maneuvers where if they bump into each other, it's not going to be the end of the world. Of course, that would also mean getting another driver. I meant sci-fi fantasy and sci-fi fantasy and sci-fi fantasy. I was trying to be concise, but now you made me type it all out, jerk. Sorry, Aberjam. Prelude acts are professional actors. That's why it's so good. Well, actually, there's more to it than that, because Robert Burnett edited it, and he's a pro when it comes to editing. Whoever directed it did a pretty competent job directing, and because having good actors is not the secret to getting a good performance. I will tell you that straight up. If a person, and this is from someone, I have directed actors, I've done this, I know it. All right. If you have a competent director, then yes, it may take you a long time, but you can get an outstanding performance out of anybody. A good director can. If you're a crappy director, you can end up with a bad performance from even the most dynamic of actors, aka Samuel L. Jackson in the prequels. Another says, to me and Sean Carter, I have a Vic Mangina. What? I have a Vic Mangana. I hope that's what it's autograph Kirk from Continue. Oh, Vic is the, I can't believe I said Mangina. Is the guy that played Kirk. I gotcha. What's the need in, what they need in fan films after are experienced actors like me. Actually, they need not to, here's the thing, experienced actors, experienced directors, experienced producers. Basically, they need to not be fan films. Luke really only got a crash course in Jedi training. Yes, but he could have continued training on his own during the 20 plus years. Look at how much he improved between Empire and Jedi. So it would stand to reason that he would continue to improve, that he wouldn't just say, well, I guess we're done. Darth Maul, I'm the Darth in California. Well, I'll never remember. But, California is definitely the dark side. After all, that's where Nerdrotic is. The J.J. Calvin timeline, they have the NX Enterprise is seen in a model into darkness. So why would they have a Warp 5 ship, then afterwards build a Warp 4 ship, Franklin? Well, here's the problem with the Franklin is kind of a continuity buster for sure. The Franklin predates the NX-01. The Franklin is the first Warp 4 capable starship, where the Enterprise is the first Warp 5 capable starship. So the Franklin actually came first. The problem is the Franklin's registry, I can't remember it now, but it's like NX blah, 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 blah. It's obviously a much like NX 323 or 360 something or whatever. So it's like there's like 300 ships that they supposedly built before the Enterprise, or to just have a really wonky registration number for some reason the Enterprise, we're going to start over and call it NX-01. It doesn't make much sense. But the design of the Franklin, everything except for the registry on the Franklin absolutely adds up. They should have just not used NX for the registry. Hey, Edger, Robert Downey Jr. did this first post MCU movie, Dr. Doolittle, and it bombed. Yeah, I've heard it really sucks. If you all want to get Anti-Trigger, if y'all want to get at Anti-Trigger, make sure you write at Anti-Trigger. Thank you, Darth Revan, that is true. Darth Maul says, I'm the Darth in California, where the Beach Boys sang about our California girls. Yeah, and Bird of Prey sang about them too. More accurately. Before things similar to episode of Voyager, Doctor had to be reset, so they grafted another hologram to his matrix so they could retain memories, and at the end, he was singing a song. I vaguely remember that. Richie says, you're just like J.J. Abrams. You're great at starting a series, but not good at finishing them. Well, fair enough, Richie. Fair enough. That is an honest critique of me. I'm not good about that, but that's why Mr. Miles is going to hold me accountable. We're going to get this series going. Like, we've actually completed our trilogy of Borg videos. Now we're going to do our Dominion videos. And there's Zabe's $5. Thank you again, my friend. I truly appreciate it. Tim says, wait, Spock's mom last name was Waller? She wasn't black? Amanda Waller was evil. I saw. Oh, man. That's too good. Peter says, yeah, baby, I said Babylon 5 Anti-Trigger for stuff that happens early on and at the end of the season or even series that makes sense then. Yes, very true. Babylon 5 is definitely one of those. Bird of Prey puts a link to the super chat list. Thank you, my friend. And the chat goes nuts on me again. All right, there we go. Darth Maul says, in the meantime, let's get Bird of Prey 5 loaded up in his chair, slap a Voyager sticker on, get you loaded on your Equinox, and do a cut where you guys play chicken. That would be funny. Rational Roundtable, Anti-Trigger, Rational Roundtable can wait for. I look forward to hearing your point of view about certain things that we can't talk about until then. All right, Valor, well, I will be here tomorrow morning. Anti-Trigger is a comment reading monkey. Perform, monkey, perform. Wow. Maybe so. You want me to be like some of the other? Okay, I'll just shut up now until somebody super chats. Is that what you want? No, I'm not going to do that. Not unless I get really desperate. Then again, I am kind of desperate, so maybe I should do that. Oh well. This is why you should help Bird of Prey to get his Rose Tico series. I don't think Bird of Prey really wants a Rose Tico series, do you, Bird? Was Legends there? Star Wars Legends, there's a lightsaber whip. Well, I'll bet that's every bit as awesome as the Ferengi laser whip, or whatever they called it. And Alexander puts another $2 in and says, we want Baku video series. MCU Aunt May Manned 2. Manned? So you want MCU Aunt May to be a transsexual? You want MCU Aunt May to be a man? Is that what you want, Alex? That seems a little weird. Just saying, I mean, that's fine if that's your opinion, but that seems a little weird. Why would you want MCU Aunt May to be a man? Who does Anti-Trigger pay more for their services, you or Mr. Miles? I pay Mr. Miles more. Bird of Prey is currently not getting paid yet, but that will change as soon as possible. And I actually I have a plan of attack for that once we get to a certain point. Could the Naval Patrol be, and by the way, Bird, that whole thing, my suggestion to doing that one thing on Vimeo is leading towards that plan. Could the Naval Patrol be to monitor the aquatic species like the Xindi aquatics who live underwater cities on Earth? They must exist and monitor water worlds, I guess. And I was going to put another $2 in, says, F, I wanted to, wow, it actually lets you put that in a super chat? Because usually people get blocked. I had someone get blocked on a super chat for putting the word dirty in it. But it says, F, I wanted to write MCU Aunt May naked. Well, you made it public. You want MCU Aunt May as a man. Aberjan says to Christopher Chadwick, Anti-Checker is very generous with reading comments, but if you want to be noticed at Bird of Prey 5's channel, you need to have to sacrifice a small goat before coming. That's true. And Aberjam would know because he is currently a prisoner in Karoga. And for those of you that don't know, Karoga is the nation which Bird of Prey is the absolute ruler and dictator over. Tim Christ, Anti-Checker, Super Soakers are cheaper. That's true. Super Soakers would be cheaper. Aberjam says, say again, who elided it? I must have mispronounced something that I'm... What? Do you saw many years ago Got Action Bowen? Do you saw a many years Got Action Bowen? Nope. No idea what you're talking about. In TOS, the Planet Killer, why do they only fire on the surface of the weapon? Why didn't they fire all weapons into the middle of the big opening? Well, primarily, most likely because they couldn't afford the visual effects to do something like that. Also... And this is the big thing about it. If you get in front of it, it can hit you with its anti-proton beam. And they tried to stress that it is important that the anti-proton beam is an insanely powerful weapon. All right? So yeah, you don't want to get point-blank range in front of the thing because it will completely destroy you. Plus, it'll pull you in with the tractor beam and just convert your ship into energy for fuel. Bird of Prey says, UK lies, no sacrifice since 2018. That's why you haven't grown with your channel. Somebody clipped that, yeah. Vic Mangina. Yeah, I really butchered his name. I know who he is, but yeah, that name I can never remember. Sam Cockings, H.R. Someone needs to pick him for a future film for graphics. Well, Cockings actually, I think that his knowledge is really what would be more valuable than his graphic artist skills. He's good, but but keep in mind that a lot of the Trek Yard source material that they get is actual studio CG models. And, I don't know how they get them, and they won't tell me. Stanley says, like in the Straight Outta Compton movie, where it shows that they had to record Eazy-E's parts, Dre basically recorded the lyrics one word at a time, then edited it together. I did not know that, and that has nothing to do with our conversation, but that is interesting. Bird needs to make a clip that LOL Antrager saying Mangina. Yeah, but instead of Mangina, I know. Spartan Jeremy says, hey, Antrager, like your Borg videos. Thank you, Spartan Jeremy. I truly appreciate that. And this is like the post-Borg video party, I guess. The animated series, the Enterprise, had underwater craft that was kept in a shuttle bay. Yes, that is true, but the animated series is not canon. At least not officially. Bird of Prey says, Microsoft went from Xbox 360 to Xbox One, so there is precedent. Well, okay. I guess you could argue that. Too bad it's not the NX 360. Maybe after the collision got sorted, each ship got assigned a random NX number and then got switched to NCC. I would bet the NCC 001 was an Enterprise, possibly the NX 01 refit. Yeah, we don't really know what happened after the formation of the Federation. So yeah. Tom says, you never finished reviewing Borg episodes. Yes, that is true. There's still quite a few left to do, and we'll probably get to. What I was talking to Miles about actually is because the Borg videos have been very popular. We may actually go back to reviewing Borg episodes, but kind of do a redo and start over, because of Miles's incredible talents. Jaeger says, here's a few dollars more for the booze you'll need for Picard. Thank you for watching crap so we don't have to. What films are you looking forward to? Right now, honestly, the problem is that the film I'm looking forward to the most hasn't gotten a release date yet. And that is for the Fantastic Four. I really want a good Fantastic Four movie, and because I don't have it handy, but I'd show you. I have every Fantastic Four comic book from number 25 to the end of the run. I love the Fantastic Four, but they haven't been given any proper due in film, and so I so want to see a good Fantastic Four movie, and that's what I want to see more than anything else in the world. I want to see Galactus, I want to see Doctor Doom, I want to see all the great things that came from Fantastic Four. We've gotten a couple of great things from Fantastic Four in the MCU already, like Black Panther. He was a Fantastic Four character. but we haven't gotten the FF themselves. So I really want that to be done well. As far as this particular year, honestly, well, Top Gun looks cool. Dune is something I'm very curious about. There's the Black Widow movie. Sure, that'll probably be good. But honestly, this year is not going to be a big year for movies to me. I mean, looking at these movies, I'm like, with the exception of Dune, there's none of these movies that I'm like, oh yeah, that's going to be epic, right? Now with Dune, I have to see something, because Dune could suck, it could be epic, but we don't know. And Dune's still, that's towards the end of the year. But as far as like the big summer blockbusters, I'm honestly not that jazzed this year. And I think part of it is because the MCU is kind of slowing down right now, and then they're going to probably rebuild up. But right now it's like Black Widow, that's the best you could do. Okay. Christopher Chadwick, now you do need to spell anti-checker correctly, or else it doesn't highlight on my screen, but fortunately I saw that. Anti-checker, as a guy who directed actors in university, one of the biggest mistakes is to give line readings and insist the actors stick to this ignorant method. Let the actor find the character. Well, the director needs to work with you, and I agree. I mean, but the director and the actor both need to work together to find the character, right? A lot of it has to come from the actor, but the director also has to guide the actor through that process. Because if the actor decides, well, I'm thinking that my version of Mary Poppins is a child molester, you need to stop him right there, right? And say, no, we're not going that way, So you can't give them free reign, but you do need to help them find their character and make it internal. And then the real challenge becomes when you actually get to the filming stage, because acting on stage and acting on film are very different. When you get to the actual filming stage, that's when the director needs to become the brutal dictator. And I will tell you, that's what you do to get good performances out of people. Kubrick was 100% right. That's how you do it. You abuse the crap out of them. And you will get incredible performances. Now, sometimes you get a great performance early on. Great, you don't have to abuse them so much. Mr. Captain says, did you see Laura's new video? The start will scare you permanently. Are you talking about well, let me see. I haven't seen a lore video in a week or so. The last lore video I watched was that Enterprise D staff meeting. Or pitch meeting kind of thing. Let's see. Lore Reloaded. It's funny. Lore is so into the Dominion War here. Okay, so, Starfleet Command holodeck upgrades meeting, huh? Is that the one you're talking about? Because that one just came out like 45 minutes ago. Lore's trying to hone in on my time here, that butthead. But you say the start will scare you permanently. All right, we'll take a look at the start and see if it scares me permanently.
Millions of amazing vacation homes.
Yeah, no. Let's get the ad. All right, so.
Oh, you tell him. You tell him, Connie. Tell Kirk what he wants. Tell Kirk what he needs.
Oh my.
Let him.
God. Wow, Lore. Wow, going dark there, buddy. That is disturbing. That is so disturbing. I think I'm gonna have to share it with you guys. That could be a freaking super chat. That's so disturbing. Let me see. Switch to game screen, and we'll go full screen here. All right, guys. So here we go. Lore Reloaded.
Oh, you tell him. You tell him, Connie. Tell Kirk what he wants. Tell Kirk what he needs. Let him know, Kirky. Let Kirky know. Yeah, sir, I wanted to talk to you about the...
Tell me that's not super chat material right there. Holy crap. Lore, wow.
You know what? Hate me because I cheat, because I won.
And yes, we will continue to hate you because you cheat. All right. Whew, wow. I meant for binge watching. Okay. As far as Babylon 5, you mean it's good for binge watching? Do you like the color of TOS torpedoes being blue and the color of quantum torpedoes? I do prefer blue torpedoes. In fact, I think the single best shot of photon torpedoes in all of Trek is from Star Trek The Motion Picture when they blew up the asteroid. That torpedo was gorgeous. And then they turned them red for some reason. As far as the quantum torpedoes, they're kind of white-ish. and they're all right. But I prefer the blue photons. Those are the best looking torpedoes. Let's see. And Zachary says, could help Alexander get his Gungans movie off the ground. Yeah, if the channel grew that much, I would actually do that. That would be fun. And Charles puts $9.99, $10 into the chat. Thank you so much. I really, really, really appreciate it. And says, I may have missed the previous discussion, but there's a very old Star Trek novel, Vendetta, that proposed the planet killer was built by a race to combat the Borg. Not canon, but an interesting read. Yes, it's funny. I've talked about Vendetta before in the stream, and in fact, I talked about Vendetta before in this very stream. Vendetta is my absolute favorite Star Trek novel. I love Vendetta. Yes, the planet, the big battle at the end with the planet killer, the starships, and the Borg. Holy crap. Talk about epic. The only thing I don't like about Vendetta is the cop-out ending, right? Which I'm not going to spoil for people, but the cop-out ending at the very, very end, the last page of the book, I hate it. But everything else, loved that book. That's what they should have made instead of freaking First Contact. First Contact was an effing joke. Vendetta was written as a direct sequel to Best of Both Worlds. And holy crap, was it good. It made more sense than First Contact, and it was definitely more epic than First Contact. So it's truly sad that we didn't get it. And I will eventually do a full breakdown of that book, because that's something I truly want to do. But thank you so much for the $10, Charles. And yes, you and I are on the same page. Vendetta is a really interesting idea, too. Chris says, Andrew, for what I've seen, George Lucas likes to give his actors line readings with precise blocking. Yeah, George Lucas is not... he's not a good director of talent. He's a good story crafter. He can break out a story really well. He's not a particularly good screenwriter. I mean, his screenplays are, I hate sand. And he doesn't know how to get good emotional performances out of his talent, which you can see from the first Star Wars film and the prequels. He does not know how, and even if you look at like THX 1138 and American Graffiti, anything he's directed, he gets flat performances out of his talent. And so George Lucas is not a great director, not by any measure. And that's not to knock George Lucas, because he did create Star Wars, and man, do I love Star Wars. And even though the first Star Wars movie had crappy acting, I love the movie. But yeah, basically you can tell that when you watch the Star Wars movies, it's people reading lines. It's not, they don't feel like real characters. But if you look at the Star Wars movies not directed by Lucas, namely Empire, Jedi, and the sequel trilogy, along with Rogue One and Solo, the performances are night and day better. Now, the movies are hit and miss. Like Last Jedi, I think, is definitely the worst of the Star Wars films. But it's not because of bad acting. Because Rian Johnson, for all his faults, being a bad director isn't one of them. And that's, I know, heresy to some of the Phantom Menace to say that. Rian Johnson and J.J. Abrams are not bad directors, but those are two of the worst written, The Last Jedi is the worst written Star Wars movie ever. And Rian Johnson wanted to make something that offended Star Wars fans, and he succeeded. And so Mr. Mouse says, Andrew, Bird of Prey doesn't YouTube, and the audience actually pay me at this point. Let's see, doesn't YouTube in the audience actually pay me at this point, since I get paid a percentage of ad revenue? Okay, Mr. Mouse, fine. I'll just kick back and not send you anything and see how you do. Send help! The shackles are chafing me! I'm sorry, we're working on it. We're trying to rescue you. Resolute says no space between the exclamation point and the word can fool the censor bots. Oh, is that what it is? Okay. I don't know. Is that true? And then there goes the chat jumping on me. Alexander says, I just spoke with my tourist agency. Another step forward to my wedding in Cuba with Asian Muslim woman, wife born in the USSR. Well, good, I guess. Jagerbomb says hello. How you doing, my friend? Dan says, do you like it in Star Trek when they have names that are similar, like TNG, Xindi, Starbase 9, Enterprise, Xindi? Do I like when names are similar? That's kind of an odd way to phrase it. Not particularly. But I also don't like when alien names are just like impronounceable, right? When you have things like, the Twalik, right? It took me forever to learn that word, and I still don't probably have it down. and crap like that, right? I would much rather the Borg. That's something I can say, understand, and repeat. But if they say the name of an alien race and I have to go, wait, what? Well, they're the Skinsukans. The what? The Skinsukans. Wait, how do you, what? And so, Klingon, easy. Romulan, easy. Kinsukans, no. Battle breakdown, whatever species ESOQQ is, whatever species Kova Thal is. Well, I'm not even sure who those characters are. Gosh, I love this channel, says Elwin. Thank you. When it's too rough for everybody else, it's just right for Anti-Check. This is a pre-Krogan Empire Strikes Back stream. Yes, the Krogan Empire will probably be striking back soon, but they will suck. Could the Death Star destroy the planet killer with its super laser? That is an excellent question. I would dare say no. Not from the outside, anyway. If it hit it right in the maw, sure. But the thing about neutronium is that that's not a substance you would find on a planet at all. And so I don't think that a super laser would cut through it necessarily. Do you think that if they ever get around to going back to the Delta Quadrant that they would fix the Kazon? I don't think they're going to ever go back to the Delta Quadrant. And if they do, I don't think we'll ever see the Kazon again. May I see Disco die? Of course you absolutely can, my friend, because who doesn't want to see Disco die? There we go. Whoops, wrong button, and there we go. All right. So thank you,
You know what? Hate me because I cheat, because I won.
Yes, we will hate you, Bird. It's pronounced minana, similar to lasagna. Thank you. I'm going to suck at that. Sorry, I do suck at names like that. I truly do, and I apologize to anyone's name who I butcher. And let's see. Zachary says, NX means experimental vessel after the formation of Starfleet. You are absolutely correct. That's why the Excelsior had an NX registry in Star Trek 3, but an NCC registry in Star Trek 6, because it was no longer an experimental vessel. Admiral Saval says, USS Franklin, NX 326. Thank you. I wasn't sure the number, but hey, I was in the right general area. I knew it was in the 300 series. Do you know if you will live stream first episode of Picard? It depends on when it's released, because here's the thing. I actually have an appointment at 6 o'clock p.m. that evening. And so if Picard is released somewhere in that time frame, then I'll do it when I get home. If Picard is released early in the day, then I'll do it then. But I don't know. But will I live stream my reaction to the first episode? I mean, I can't live stream the actual episode, but I will live stream my reaction to the episode at the very least. If you're talking about on the alternate channel, I may after a couple of days, but I'm not going to do it on that day. Number one Sci-Fi says, Best of Both Worlds, my favorite TNG episode. Well, that is the favorite episode of a lot of TNG fans, and it is outstanding. But I think that the weakness of Best of Both Worlds is in part 2. Part 1 is freaking awesome. The B movie of Fantastic Four is really good entry for a low budget. I disagree. I didn't care for it. It wasn't true to the comics. And the thing is, I know the comics for Fantastic Four. And I know the characters intimately. And I don't like, the fact that Hollywood never takes comic book characters seriously until the MCU. That's why I want to see an MCU version. Ghostbusters could be good. Yeah, the new Ghostbusters movie looks like it might be. But it's hard to say. But the thing is, am I dying to see a Ghostbusters movie? No, that's the thing. It's not. There's nothing that I'm like, woohoo! Like if a new Star Trek movie was coming, or a big epic Avengers movie or something. There's nothing that's really got me excited this year. The Enterprise NX class, and the word NX is the registry of other ships to the 21st century, also had NX on the registry. Yeah, it's kind of weird. They should not have called it the NX class. That was stupid. Honestly, since it's the NX-01, they should have called it the Enterprise class. But instead, they call it the NX class, because Enterprise class is kind of funny. There's a soft cannon thing, but, there's the Constitution class, we all know from the original series. The class of ship we see in the movies that the Enterprise, after the refit, in various books and license books, like I think Mr. Scott's Guide to the Enterprise actually uses this, is the Enterprise class starship, because the Enterprise was the first ship to get the refit. So that ship was called the Enterprise class, so they didn't want to call the Enterprise from Enterprise the Enterprise class, because some people would see a conflict there, even though it's not hard canon that is the Enterprise class, and a lot of people still just refer to it as the refit Constitution. And let's see. I'd love to see a Spider-Man Fantastic Four team up against Silver Surfer. Well, Silver Surfer against Spider-Man and the Fantastic Four, Silver Surfer would kick their collective butts. But the Fantastic Four, that's one thing about the Fantastic Four. They always go up against overpowered baddies. Galactus, Annihilus, Blastar, Silver Surfer, Terex the Tamer, all these overpowered, insanely powerful beings. Even Doctor Doom. Holy crap. And so... yeah. Honestly, kind of like the Fantastic Four movies. Not the last one. The only other fail I had was the second one with Galactus' giant fart cloud. Yeah. Well, I enjoyed the Tim Story films. Those are the two that Fox produced with the original one and then Rise of the Silver Surfer. And by the way, Rise of the Silver Surfer, they nailed it. Right? And Silver Surfer was freaking awesome. Unfortunately, you're right. Galactus was a freaking joke. Which ruined the movie. But the only thing they really got right about the Fantastic Four themselves is Johnny and Ben's relationship. That was dead on. Johnny and Ben were perfect in their relationship with each other. Everything else about them sucked. Mr. Ross says, only 2 more years till Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Woohoo! Yes, that is sarcasm. I put a movie in discard and trigger. Well, okay. The Defiant and the Prometheus 2 ships also had NX registry. Yes, because the Defiant and the Prometheus were also experimental ships. Cherry Poppins, the child molester. Oh, jeez. I shouldn't have said that. In regards to the Borg videos, I'm curious to see what you do with them if you had control of the post-Nemesis era of Star Trek. Well, I'm curious to see what they do with it in the Picard series. Yes, that is a great super chat. Yeah, definitely super chat material. Lore works hard for the money. Yeah. No super chat material for me today. Yeah, I tell you, that was... Dang, Lore. Dang, you really went there. It's funny because he talks about how he regretted doing the thing in the Lore in Drag thing that we show from time to time on this channel. And for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about this.
Hey, you want to learn about Jesus?
There's no such thing as hooker-client confidentiality.
So, yeah, there's that.
You know what? Hate me because I cheat, because I won.
We do hate you. And he talks about how you regretted doing that, but then what he did in that video, holy crap. Loquisha says, were you able to connect with Gary? Sounds like he didn't want a 5-on-1 pile-up for you on Rise of Skywatch on Friday night, but he often sees people back out the last minute. You could possibly squeeze in. Yeah, I talked about that earlier in this stream, Loquicious. First of all, let me say this. There are no hard feelings between me and Gary. We do for the first time. Now we have an open, regular line of communication. He has my phone number. I have his, so we can talk. We'll work something out, but right now, if I understand he feels like, oh, no, I don't want everybody to pile up on Anti-Trigger. I've done it twice now, so it's not like I can't handle it. I'm used to being ganged up on over Rise of Skywalker. But I understand. If he wants to be nice about it, that's fine. I want Mr. Miles' hoodie. You know where they are for sale. Mr. Miles can probably tell you. First Contact was an effing joke. Anti-Trigger hates First Contact confirmed. I didn't hate First Contact, but Mr. Miles, Thomas, read freaking Vendetta. Read it. And you will know that, boy, compared to Vendetta, First Contact is a joke. And Alexander says, Anti-Trigger and all of you, I'm now learning OBS. When I'm able to do quality video, I'll start my channel as a Quebec ambassador from the Gungan Soviet Socialist Republic. Can't wait for that. Zachary says, Anti-Trigger never said he loved Anti-Trigger never said he loved First Contact. He said it's the best of the next gen movies. I did say that. But yeah. Let's see. Christopher and Andrew. George Lucas is notorious for giving only one direction, faster, more intense. That is very true. That is what George Lucas is known for. And that is not good direction. You know, you need to direct them into what emotion are they supposed to be feeling, you know, where are they at, push them. But yeah, faster, more intense is just like, yeah, do it again. Sometimes things that are truly epic can't be made into movies because too much. Same reason while some concept art can't be done. Now, I disagree. I think that especially with the modern CG era, anything can be made into a movie. Anything. If you can imagine it visually, you can put it on screen. Now, can you put it into like a 2-hour movie or a 90-minute movie? Probably not. You might have to make a 4-hour movie every now and then. But you know what? Hollywood needs to be willing to take those risks. And that's what they're afraid of. They're afraid of taking risks. They're afraid of making a 4-hour movie. Because they don't think anybody will see it. But you know what? If you made a 4-hour Star Wars movie that was freaking awesome, it would be the highest grossing film of all time. Don't send me anything and I won't send you anything. We can both see how we do. All right. Now, granted, I would hurt from that, but I think you would hurt more. Send Mr. Miles a wrench, Andy Trigger. Oh, Mr. Miles has one. George Lucas wanted to do the prequels right after the original trilogy, but he was told that if he wanted things to look much better, he should wait some years and effects would be improving. That is a urban myth. You know, just like people thought that he had 9 movies plotted out from the very beginning. No, he did not. Andrew, I hate it when I have to get a shower and I can't listen to the show. I'm sorry, Jeff, but you know, I don't want to be in the shower with you. That's kind of that's kind of names like Hate 472 F. That's hard to read and say. I don't even know. Yeah, that is. Andrew, I better pray I can trim the video and remove parts of it. You can. But I haven't seen the. I'm not sure what the video is yet. There's Kazon looking ship in Earth in Star Trek Into Darkness. Is there? I don't remember that, but maybe there is. But Star Trek, the Kelvin-verse Star Trek, I mean, the ships have their own unique aesthetic, and while I'm not a big fan of it, at least it's consistent. Dan says, doctors, they have to work all the time. They find out when your shows are on and schedule your appointment then. I bet Bill and Ted 3 will be an excellent... Well, I'm looking forward to Bill and Ted 3, but again, it's not a movie that I'm like, yes, Bill and Ted, finally! You know, I think, oh, wow, they're doing another Bill and Ted? Okay. After show, son of a bitch, oh, Helen, hi. Hey, DJ, it's nice to see you survived your marathon live stream last night. Seventh Rule Podcast stars Cyril Lofton, Jake Sisko was at the premiere of Picard. You have to take what they say as a whole, but it said old Trek is dead. Well, people have been saying that, and people want to declare it. I'm sorry. I will not accept that. It's just in a coma. And as you know, and I know they watched the first 3 episodes. Again, they didn't watch the whole series, so you know they can say whatever they want. And I don't know what their opinions were, whether they're Phantom Menace types or whether they're SJW types, because I don't know that podcast. Don't care. I will not. I'm not going to take somebody else's opinion as gospel, and I'm certainly not going to judge the series until I see it. I want to play the Ghostbusters video game made about 10 years ago. They recently upgraded the visuals for. I've heard they did a remaster of it. I've never played it, but I've heard it was good. Best of both worlds, Enterprise D saucer section fires antimatter spread. Well, they'll never do that again. Yeah, that was stupid. That was like the dumbest thing about it. But you know, I mean, I know they wanted to do something that was a surprise to the nerds and fire antimatter spread. And everybody was like, "What?" And then we saw this cool effect of the antimatter basically being fireworks to distract the Borg. That would have been cool, but they should not have fired them from the phaser emitters. That makes no sense whatsoever. I consider the refit Constitution a definitive no to being called the Enterprise class. Well, you can consider it whatever you want. Several old things can back as movies, and no one really talks about them as I was an all-female Ocean's 11 or a Snoopy Peanuts movie. Yeah, the all-female Ocean's 11 went nowhere fast. And of course, it's all because of the evils of men. I love Best of Both Worlds, but I love the episode after Picard goes to the vineyard and relates with his brother to meet Worf's parents and what. Yeah, I actually like that. It's called Family, is that episode, I think. And it's a good episode, actually. It's a good follow-up to Best of Both Worlds. But the problem is that is the only time that we saw Picard recovering from the Borg. And it never really affects him much except for, okay, Hugh shows up and he has a bit of a Borg prejudice. And then First Contact happens and all of a sudden he has deep psychological trauma. How long before is Picard or Star Trek Discovery introduce us to the Borg Pyramid? Hopefully an eternity. And let's see. Sci-Fi Sis says, hello there. How you doing? And Darth Maul says, does Lore still love Lore Bond? I don't think he does. Dan says, in Expanded Universe, there was more ships like the Enterprise refit, but I don't think that was canon. No. It's funny because really the only Constitution refit ship we've seen in canon is the Enterprise and the Enterprise A, which is absolutely stupid to me. MCU Silver Surfer may have a solo film first, then later introduce Fantastic Four film. Yeah, I've heard that they made the Norrin Rad. That's his name, by the way. Silver Surfer's name was Norrin Rad. And if they do the Norrin Rad origin story with Galactus and everything, I'm down for that. That could be a really good story. And then if you then have them come to Earth when the Fantastic Four are there, again, awesome. First Contact was not that bad. I would like to see Second Contact. The Phantom Menace needs someone like you in their midst to shake things up once in a while, to shatter the echo chamber, as it were. Well, thank you. Well, I'm a proud card-carrying member of the Phantom Menace, and so I'm okay with that. Fantastic Four films and Green Lantern films have flopped before. That is true. But hopefully the MCU will make a difference as far as Fantastic Four. As far as Green Lantern, we'll see. Warner Brothers cannot seem to make a superhero film for the life of them. Yes, this Enterprise CVN-65 was an Enterprise-class carrier and the only one, and a refit Enterprise in Star Trek was the Enterprise-class ship, unique ship. You could argue that, but you know what? Why would you only make one of, such a great design? Another great TNG novel was called The Devil's Heart. Never read that one. But Piano did read Vendetta when I was in college. Blew me away. I think the author was Peter David. It was. And Peter David was a great author. I'm not a big reader mainly because of my dyslexia, but that is one that I need to find a good copy of that one because I love that book. Titanic was a long movie and people loved it. That's true. And for a long time held the box office record, as was Avatar, as was Avengers Endgame. And you know what? All those movies did incredible numbers. So you can make long movies if you have a long story to tell. Is Trelane basically a Q? We don't know what Trelane truly is, except that he's obviously some kind of higher evolved sentient being. However, there was actually a novel called Q Squared where they explore the idea that Trelane is in fact an adolescent Q. And Alexander throws another couple of bucks in since there are more than 100 people watching. Congrats. Wow, you're right. I had no idea. No wonder I can't catch up. Thank you. Marvel, some Inhumans just use superpowers they were given, and some of them use superpowers but got health problems, so they use equipment to help them. I don't like that. Yeah, Inhumans never really my bag, but another thing that came out of Fantastic Four. You really, for the very political Star Trek Picard, it's sad that Patrick Stewart says that the TV show will be seeing modern politics in the 24th century. I'm hoping that is hyperbole. Alexander says, you don't remember that species hate fours when it was in Voyager. They fought with the Borg. No, I don't remember that. But if that is actually how it's spelt and everything, then yeah, that's a horrible. That's a great example of a horrible name. You think I'd hurt more if we split ways? Have you forgotten that Lore Reloaded, Alec from Axon, Stargate Guy, and others have shown interest? Yeah, jerk. Jake from yeah, but what's the potential there? Here you're on the ground up and you get a bigger chunk. Lore Reloaded will give you 5%. Yeah, Jake from DSI is on YouTube and you should hit him up. Well, if I had time and I had contact, I might. How long till you knee will not hurt like hell for you to not be in constant pain? Well, it's funny you should ask that. The knee itself, the pain comes and goes. And it's better than it was before the surgery. The biggest problem I have now with that particular part of this whole thing is that the leg still doesn't work. The nerve praxia, which is damage to the nerve that goes down that leg, is preventing that leg from functioning. That's the biggest problem that I'm facing with that leg. The rest of the red turd, though, is mainly because of the exacerbated pain from the rest of my body because my body is trying to compensate for the loss of the one leg use. That's kind of, yeah. Well, the antimatter spread was supposed to be a distraction. Riker maneuvers 101. Yeah, I know, but the antimatter spread just being a distraction, not my problem. My problem is it being fired from the phaser array. That's what you can't take it. Here I have a laser and I'm going to shoot bullets out of it. That's what they're doing. It doesn't make sense. See what I'm saying? The phaser array is a specialized piece of equipment that does one thing and one thing only: firing phasers. Alexander puts another $2 in. Guys, he doesn't remember hate for 7. No, I don't. Jerk. Now you're gonna keep saying this, aren't you? All right, so I'm going to actually put that into Google and search for it, because it's like, is that a real thing or are you just making it up? Yeah, I put that into Google and it says your search did not match anything. So yeah, I think you're lying to me, Alexander, or you misspelt it. Lucas didn't have 9 episodes planned out from the start, but both Hamill and Fisher were talking about 3 trilogies and interviews during Empire. Yeah, they were talking about it, but it's not like people thought he had it all penned out. That's why they, and you see, Doctor, what did you do now, Thomas? You guys sending me messages. I'm gonna give up on this Twitter soon. Okay. Well, thank you, Thomas. Lucas didn't have 9 episodes. Yeah, but here's the thing. Yeah, people thought that he had it all penned out, like he had this grand scheme, but no, that was kind of a myth. Andy Jerry, Bird of Prey, let's do a Deer Bop. No, we're going to be wrapping it up here in a minute. They could do 3 films and a Silver Surfer, and then Fantastic Four and Fantastic Four and Silver Surfer. Yeah, but here's the thing. As long as I really think they need to get Fantastic Four put in during Phase 4. That would be so poetically perfect that Phase 4 of the MCU features the Fantastic Four. They've got to do it. And Cedric puts in $2, says, good morning, Anti-Trekker and Mrs. Well, Mrs. is downstairs cooking for the ladies that are going to be enjoying her food at the church tonight, and I am here. But thank you, Cedric. I do appreciate that. Resnick says, if they do make a Fantastic Four movie, it won't be an origin story. We'll see. We'll see. I think they're going to have to do an origin story, because they're going to have to show why weren't they around during Infinity War. Star Trek Continues fan film actually explains why we see only one refit of the Constitution class throughout the series. Each other Connie gets taken out one by one. Well, actually, you don't need Star Trek Continues for that, because watch the original series and you will realize that almost every other Connie is taken out of the original 12, but that doesn't mean that they didn't build more. Species 8472 is a Borg designation, Anti-Trigger. They just kept it. I'm not sure why you said that, but is that what okay. Not sure why you're saying that. Midnight says, pay attention, kids. This is what happens when you keep kicking yourself in the ass. Shut up, Tom. You come here just to be insulting? Really? Really? Jerk. I dare you. I dare you. How dare you? I have to go to work. Sorry, Wes. And Alexander puts another $2 in. Hate for 7 to, or however you say it, is an important species. You say that, and yet I search for it in Google and it comes up with nothing. So I think you're misspelling it. Tim says, remember the consistency of Star Trek when they revived the alien from Farpoint. They fired an energy beam from the captain's yacht. Well, yeah, I know. Star Trek is not known for being 100% consistent with stuff like that. But firing an antimatter spread from the phasers is just stupid. Wesley says, greetings, turds, nerds, marriage for, and Nerdrotic fans? Yeah, apparently you got some Nerdrotic fans with Midnight's Edge in here. Get off your phone. Well, stop sending me stuff. Check Discord for the hell of it. No. Resolute says, MCU Phase 4 ends with Fantastic Four teaser. That would piss me off. Years ago, my Scoutmaster once said, light a fire and warm a man for a night, set a man on fire and keep him warm for life. Oh, you got me there. Spartan says, I'm surprised MCU Spider-Man didn't get an origin story movie, to be honest. Actually, I'm glad they didn't do it, because they kind of did, in that he talked about, hey, what happened gave me these powers 6 months ago. And I was okay with that. But with the Fantastic Four, you're going to have to tell the story of how the team came together. And that is their origin story, because they each got their powers when they formed the team. And Midnight's Edge puts $2 in, says, here you go, sexy. Wait a minute. First of all, thank you. But second of all, I know you guys are like rolling in money. Where's the $300 super chat? Come on. Come on. Just, that's right. What is Mrs. Antrecker cooking? I don't know, because I'm not allowed to have any, because it's going to be delicious. And it's for the ladies at church. I know that she usually makes dessert items for them. And, oh, man, shouldn't she throw down in the kitchen? When I was younger, I thought Ryder was awesome. I'm watching TNG now. The more I see Riker... Riker was awesome. As I'm watching TNG, the more I see Riker's self-righteous blowhard, the episode with Jelko's a prank. Yeah, Riker is a dick. But Riker shined in Best of Both Worlds Part 1. That was so good. Unfortunately, that is not the Riker we have in the rest of TNG. And if you look, Riker is every bit as arrogant as Picard. He just has a friendlier face on it. Picard looks stuffy, Riker doesn't. Indy Tiger says, the Romulans blew up your praxia nerve. Yeah, that's what it is. Is it wrong in all the Origin movies and games that I substitute the word origins with oranges? It's kind of wrong, yeah. Peter says 8472. I understand you're talking about 8472, but I'm not sure what the context is, why you're saying that. Mead, you're in good company. We're all insulting Anti-Tracker. They sure are today. You're saying 8472, not hate for... Oh, jeez. I can't believe I didn't see that. Hate 472. Oh, my God. Wow. Alexander, well played, my friend. Hate for 72. Wow. Hey, for 72, got your number, Mike. Yeah, you got me, Alexander. Thank you for the $2. You really got me. Oh man, now I got to retire. Alexander is saying, hey, 8472, hey, 472. Yeah, I can't believe I did not catch that one. Well played, Alexander. You're the one that can't afford someone to edit videos for you, not just us. Yeah, that's true. The original concept of the Wrath of Khan was Connie versus Connie, but movie makers thought it would confuse the audience for why we never see more in the movies. Well, I know that. I know that Wrath of Khan, the Miranda class, or at the time it wasn't given a class name, but the USS Reliant was designed to specifically look different enough from the Enterprise so that it would be clear who was the good guy and who was the bad guy. And they did a great job of designing an aggressive-looking starship. And so I got to give them a lot of credit there. That being said, I think that I think that they still should have had more Constitution class ships. I mean, because they kept showing like even in Star Trek 4, they show Miranda class ships everywhere, right? And so all of a sudden the Miranda class is like the mainstay of the Starfleet, but there's only one Constitution, and yet then we have Excelsior classes everywhere in Next Gen. So really, what's the deal? CVN 80 is the new Enterprise. The legend lives on. Very good. I didn't know that. I can't keep up with naval registration. But Richie says, if you start wearing Doomcock masks, you will start getting $300 super chats. By the way, this is a far superior mask to what Doomcock wears, although it, not working. Where's my $300? Somebody? Anybody? Well, so much for that theory. All right, so I was actually thinking about, it's funny because I was actually thinking about making this and like doing a series of videos like the Doctor speaks on different things, and kind of in a Doomcock-esque style. I won't lie, I love Star Trek, but I hate how evolved humanity was depicted. Well, I love Star Trek, but yeah, I think that the first 2 seasons of Star Trek: The Next Generation were pretentious and horrible, and that's kind of what they're trying to return to with the modern era of Trek. I hate when wives make food for meetings and they know what you'll want. Would it kill them? Make a little extra? Well, the thing is, yeah, that would. She doesn't like, give me that she should. Bird of Prey put $3 in, says pity chat, as does Resolute Germ. Thank you both, but you need about so there's 2 of them. So now we need 98 more $3 super chats to make up for the $300 I was supposed to get. But then actually it should be multiple $300 super chats. Yes. Thomas says 300, play them all. Yes, I would. If you wanted me to. Richie says in time, yes. You need a poop emoji mask. I got it. And there's Resident. Thank you. Now I actually really like this mask the way it came out when I printed it. But I need to make it. I was actually thinking I want to do a full suit of armor sometime of Dr. Doom and start doing, Doom. I would actually, like do a Dr. Doom video, and I'd like hold a chicken for just a second to kind of, get it. There's no name for the CVN 81 yet. Well, maybe they should name it the Reliant. Hey, don't disrespect Doomcock's mask. He has giant robots. Well, I have Doombots. Alexander says, a Doomcock doesn't have genital gangrene. No, that would be DJ, right? Isn't that what you say? Tim Christ says, there's a fake super chat of $300. I need to sign it in person to make it valid. It's not valid anyways. Well, then that's no good. Oh, great. You're that stupid Max guy? Huh? Tom? You okay? Doomcock mask goes around his whole head. Until then, his mask is better. Yeah, that's true. This mask doesn't go around the whole head, unfortunately. But I do really like the design. I've been working on trying to make a design that would go over the whole head, but it's very difficult. Because if you simply turn it into a helmet, it's too big. Because it's supposed to be form-fitting, but then you need each piece to go around different parts, and so it's something I do want to do eventually, is design and make a complete Doom mask that you can wear. And when I do, if I do, then I will in fact do Dr. Doom videos. You should have a Baku mask. No, thank you. Dan says a crap mask where you print out the crap on a card and the sides and take an elastic, go around your head, and you cut out the eye hole and mouthpiece. Yeah, you see, I would want something a little more, like Doomcock. I like his mask, although it looks too big. So it's called Velcro anti-trigger. It works wonders. Yeah, I understand that. But you have to design the pieces to form-fit your head, and that's a little trickier than it sounds. Dan says, Doom! Yes. You also need a voice changer along with the mask. Well, that's easy. The voice changer is actually easy. And so that part, you can do that through software very, very easily. I've done it before. All right, so with that, I am going to wrap up this live stream, sadly, because, Doom is just a mask. By the way, there's actually an issue of Fantastic Four that I really like called The Mask of Doom, in which just Dr. Doom's mask almost takes out the Fantastic Four. That's how powerful Doom is. Don't use Velcro, use magnets. You are a mind reader, because I actually have a stack of strong magnets just for that, but I haven't been able to figure out the design yet. Remember the Vulcans invented Velcro. Was it the Vulcans? I thought it was the Romulans, but yeah. Tom is talking about Mad Max, the Mandalorian YouTube channel. Okay. Well, Tom can talk about whatever he wants. Free speech. Mad Max runs around Dr. Doom mask pretending to be a dime store Doomcock. Gotcha. McClunky said help will be on the way, Aberjam. Help will be on the way. All right, guys. Take care, have a good one, and remember, Jolan True. And Cedric puts in $2
hate me because I cheat, because I won.
Yes, we hate you, Bird. We do hate you, Bird. Cedric puts in $2. Thank you. Fantastic Four is either hit or miss. That is very true. So far, Fantastic Four has been. There's been some good elements, some crap elements to it, right? And I truly think if we're ever going to get a truly epic, truly great Fantastic Four movie, it's going to come out of the MCU. So, you need a costume idea. Bill Durham for Punish Props Academy YouTube channel can help you. His channel is awesome. I will check that out. But I already know what I want to do. It's just a matter of having the time, the energy, and the functioning leg to get it done. Because I will tell you, it's amazing how difficult it is to do anything when your leg doesn't work. Like, I've been trying to get this room arranged properly, and guess what? I can't, like, just walk across the room, pick something up, and take it to the other side of the room. That's a massive undertaking for me to do that. And so that's what sucks. Use the Doom head with the bunny outfit. Bunny of Doom. No. When I do Dr. Doom, I'm going to look like Dr. Doom. The problem is that Doom's outfit is traditionally green, and I have a green screen behind me, so I'm got to work on either getting a blue screen or, or having Doom wearing something other than green. And I know he's worn other colors in the past, but it doesn't look right to me if it's not green. Whose heavy breathing is that during your end credits? Mrs. A-Tricker, perhaps? No, it's just part of the song. So hopefully Bird of Prey is getting his live stream started. We're waiting on you, Bird, because if you don't get it started soon, I'm just going to end the stream anyway. And, then you will be doomed. Get it? Doomed. You will now be known as Doom Bunny. Yes, I will not do Doom Bunny. Bird O' Prey 5, let's see. Still not live, is he? Oh, nope, still not live. And so, by the way, for those of you that missed it, during Bird's stream last night, while he was putting out his evil propaganda, we were, in fact, liberating parts of Kuroga. Might do that again. So if you're not already, you can check out the Rational Roundtable channel, and I will do some occasional gaming streams on Rational Roundtable in order to liberate Kuroga. Did Dr. Doom have a Doom vehicle? Perhaps a Doom buggy? Actually, he has had many vehicles over the years. You realize that you're not broadcasting from the bridge, right? You're in the turbo lift. Yeah, I know. Technically, that's true. You will be Doom Bunny, waves hand. No. Bird of Prey sends a link. So I'm assuming that's to his live stream. Yeah, but it's not online. I'm sitting there looking at it right now. You're going to be talking about, Empire Strikes Back. And I know, you're going to probably lie, but you've been saying it's the worst movie ever. I'm sure you're going to say it's good because that's what's popular. You did straight up Doom and you would be copyrighted. No, not necessarily. It was to be a parody, and a parody is, in fact, protected speech. By the way, DJ Odyssey is first on the censored Kuroga National Anthem. That's such a horrible song. All right, guys, so you can head over to Bird of Prey's stream if you want. He's a great guy. He does some great streams. He's going to be talking about Empire Strikes Back today. And in the meantime, I am going to wrap it up. And maybe I'll stream on Rational Roundtable in a little bit to help offset the propaganda coming from Bird of Prey. And yes, I do like Harvey Cthulhu. Oh, boy! Thomas. I was trying to...
You son of a bitch, anti-tracker!
So since Thomas... I don't know what happens with this stupid thing. Sometimes, for whatever reason, it switches my account from anti-tracker to my parent account, Michael Crawford. I don't know why it does that, but it does that every now and then. So I was trying to respond to Piano Dean. He was asking about making a music to go over the credits. Absolutely. You want to make something that's cool for over the credits? I will take it. Just make sure it's not ridiculously long. And I don't know what's up with YouTube constantly reverting my channel back to the other one, but it did. Good night. or day.